welcome back to another episode of the Knee Slap and K-Pop podcast. I'm Sammy. With me today is Kayla.
Hello.
And Maria.
Hello.
And we are going to continue down the rabbit hole of company reviews with the next of our big four, YG Entertainment.
So much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun.
Now, for people that have not been here before and you've tuned into our to this one, which will be a fun one. This will be a fun one. The way we do this is we're going to go through major artists. We're not going through every artist that's ever been in YG Entertainment. We will not be here for 12 hours. And we're going to specifically talk about major scandals and how they were managed. If we thought they were managed well, if we thought they were managed like shit, we will discuss all of this. This is not a cohesive timeline on the company of YG Entertainment. I don't have that would be a thesis statement.
Big asterisks on YG and SM is that we have covered a vast majority of the scandals of both of these companies on the scandal iceberg. So the scandal coverage is probably not going to be as in-depth because we have already done extensive research and coverage on that. So we will be referring you back to that often.
Also, extensive research and coverage on all of this would require like an hour because these are companies with such in-depth scandals.
All I'm going to say is anything.
It's a 2.5-hour episode.
Yeah, anything related to Burning Sun or anything related to YG the Man, just take a look at the scandal icebergs.
YG the Man is a
if you
piece
want
of
to hear
shit.
our thoughts.
We already have all realized that.
We've talked about that too in the Sotaeji mixtape as well about how terrible.
Exactly. Literally, just go back to all of those. YG the Man is a terrible person as a person.
Yeah.
I highly always recommend people to look up how he met his wife.
Which we talk about in the Scandal Iceberg.
We talk about that in the Scandal Iceberg. We talk about that on many other podcasts.
God.
I'm not going to bring it up here. But if you haven't heard us rant about it, look it up yourself.
A lot of
it's
coverage
a fucked
on that
up
already.
Story. A lot of people have talked about it because it's a fucked up story that I think people need to remember.
Yeah. Keep it in your head.
That is something we will not be talking about currently. Even though we could, because that was a group under this company.
It was. We did talk about that too in the Scandal Iceberg about that group.
That's what I'm saying. We could have actually put that here.
But there really isn't much to say about that group.
Other than the fact that he bombed a group so he could marry one of the girls.
And their song I'll Be There is actually pretty reminiscent of your late 90s, early 2000s R&B trio groups from the States.
But also, he purposefully tanked one of his own groups and lost money so he could manipulate one of the girls into marrying him.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Yeah.
Anyone want to begin?
I can start.
I feel like you should.
I mean, this starts after
all the early YG groups.
Yan Hyun-suk, basically, he was a part of the group Sotaeji and the Boys. They broke up in 1996, and him and his brother decided to form a new company, YG Entertainment. And one of the first groups that they had was basically a huge bomb called Keep Six. They were their company's first hip-hop trio, and obviously they weren't successful. Isn't too much to say there. And they were, because of that, they were struggling for money. But then again, a miracle happened in 1997, and that is the duo Jinu Sean, made up of members. Take a wild guess what their names are. Jinu and Sean. Couldn't tell.
How shocking.
Oh, shit. Really?
I'm going to refer to them by their same names.
I'm surprised. I'm so shocked.
A little backstory on these guys. Sean was actually a backup dancer for Sotaeji and the Boys, which probably makes the YG connection make sense. And Jinu actually debuted solo in 1994, but clearly that shit didn't pan out, because otherwise why would he join a duo?
A very common, fun K-pop thing is realizing so many people debuted solo, failed miserably, joined K-pop groups, and then re-debuted solo to greater success.
Actually happened to a member of Beast.
Happened to Beast?
Yep.
Happened to a lot of
Actually
people.
happened to Eunbi too, technically. Well, she wasn't a solo though, that was
things
a group.
that we learned a couple weeks ago.
We learned a lot of things recently.
But anyways.
That just keeps happening.
Anyways, conveniently, they debuted in 1997, Jinu Sean, with their first album, and really the single Tell Me, which features another legendary artist called Junhwa, who, not part of YG, but is a fantastic singer of herself. Go check her out. She featured on the song Tell Me, and that became a huge hit, and basically helped save YG as a company then and there. And where this duo was the reason why YG was able to essentially survive in the early days. The group went on to release 3 more albums. And of course, those albums also featured hit songs such as Ayo and Phone Number. And one of their albums actually features 2 90s hip hop groups, Cypress Hill and Mobb Deep. For anyone that knows hip hop, 90s rap, yeah, they did that. And that album was released in 2001 that they featured in. The group went on hiatus for 2004 to 2014. Basically, Sean got married, had had like 4 kids.
Yeah, one of those definite hiatus, one of those totally normal hiatuses that lasts 10 years.
Yeah, totally normal hiatus. Sean mainly got married, had some kids.
That's definitely not just a breakup that then they got back together.
However,
definitely a totally planned hiatus length.
Definitely planned.
Totally planned.
But basically, both of them though stayed with YG and actually moved up in positions in YG and got basically jobs that paid them better, consistent money.
Yeah, that's sort of a normal thing that happens when you are sort of on the ground floor of a company that like begins to make the money. You sort of get like stock and like positions of power.
And they're like, "We'll keep you around. You stuck with us in the beginning, even if you whether you helped us out from the get-go or maybe you necessarily didn't, but you still stuck around. We'll treat you nicely, But anyways, however, in 2014, they appeared on a special episode of Infinity Challenge. I think it was called Saturday Night as the Singers, and this episode was one where they featured a bunch of other 90s acts, including Junhwa, amongst many other people. And that same year, they were also judges on Show Me the Money 4, which is the premier hip-hop reality Mnet competition show. Still going on. The 11th, by the time this episode comes out, the 11th season will be started and ongoing. Crazy. But anyways, they also released a single in 2015, Tell Me One More Time, and that's basically been it. They've been on hiatus since as a music group, but it seems like they're both still working at YG, so yeah. Clearly
honestly,
that worked out for them.
There's not much to say about them because I think at this point they have positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
It's what happens with a lot of these like super early groups and companies is that like they gained a little success and now at this point they are in positions of power in the company. And they can just sort of do whatever the fuck they want.
Essentially.
They never have to release music again and they'll have a steady stream of income forever because they just work at YG.
Basically. Yeah.
Honestly.
Clearly worked out for them in the long run. And, the duo was instrumental of helping YG essentially survive in the beginning. So,
and
surprise.
It does set the tone for YG's music going forward.
Yes, you could see from the very beginning, it's very much hip-hop.
From the very beginning, I think YG had... you even looking back at Sotaeji and the Boys.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, speaking of continue on the hip-hop trend, YG had an idol group one time, made up of 4 members, Danny Im, or known as Taebin, Teddy Park, who you may or may not be familiar with these days, OG Hwan, and Son Baek-hyun.
Definitely still alive, Teddy Park.
Yes, definitely still alive.
Definitely not just an AI Teddy Park.
Yeah, no.
We'll get into my theory on Teddy later on. Yeah. We'll talk about a more recent group,
the interesting thing about this group.
Teddy Park.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this group is that Danny was the only one that was a singer. The other 3 were rappers. So right from the get-go.
Again,
YG's establishing a sound.
Yes.
A sound, a style, and also beginning the trend in K-pop that apparently has made a comeback in recent years of a very much giving more rappers than singers in a group.
Yeah, but honestly, I'd argue these guys are pretty good for the early days. I thought this group has pretty good members, rappers, I will say, in my opinion. But yeah, Danny and Teddy were both from LA. Apparently, Danny got his Korean name Taebin actually from his grandfather when he was just like, "Hey, Grandpa, give me a Korean name." The grandpa gave him a Korean name, so random fun fact. Yeah, they debuted in 1998, late 1998, with the single One Time. Shocker. They ended up actually being pretty successful, not super successful, but pretty good, and helping further establish YG. They had 5 albums total, which also includes one of them, the 4th one, includes the hit song Hot Dugu. Hot Dugu, hot, hot, hot Dugu, hot. That's a fun one. I like that one a lot. Danny, in particular, actually released a solo album in 2004, And then basically the group went on hiatus since 2006 when I think it was OG Juan who had to go do his
Again,
mandatory military
definitely
service.
a hiatus
went on
since
hiatus.
And basically stuck on
2006.
hiatus.
It is 2022.
Yeah.
I don't know at what point hiatuses turn into unofficial disbandments, but I'm gonna say
That's
that
a question we're still trying to figure out in like recent K-pop.
but
Yeah, they
like,
have not
like,
gone back
I'm
since, so I mean,
I'ma
they're
go out on a
basically
limb.
disbanded.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 16 years
It's pretty good.
is a high. I think that's a disbandment.
Yeah.
Again, that's just me. Again,
I'm gonna go on
but
that
I
too.
like to think 16 years where, again, there are 2004 K-pop idols that have already debuted.
Basically. Yeah.
And they have never had a song come out in their lifetime from this group. I think it's time, YG.
I think it's
I
time.
know that it's a little late.
Yeah.
I don't
think
know
it's
what
kind
is
of at the point
clamoring
where it's
for
like
the
it's
disbandment
been,
news.
I think it's been too long. That if they were just to say it, it would be weird.
Yeah.
It would be weird if they.
It's been 16 years.
Again, I'm keeping track of all the disbandments of this year. Would it be weird if I put on the list of like newest, CLC, one time, just all of that
One
are
time for
groups
your
that
mind.
disbanded in 2022.
Jeez. Yeah, the only other
It
interesting
would be
thing is that
weird.
Owen and Son are actually still friends and now are running a restaurant as business partners. Danny actually,
Thrive.
in the early days, had an Mnet show. Danny from LA, I think from like at least starting in 2012. I don't know if it's still a thing, but he
Again,
had an
beginning
Mnet
the-
connection for a while. And then the most
Beginning the
notably,
K-pop trend
Teddy
of
Park.
random foreigners getting shows on Korean television.
Apparently. But Teddy Park, though, he has decided to still stick around in
Definitely
YG.
Still alive, Teddy Park.
Teddy Park has actually stayed in YG and basically
Oh,
is
Teddy.
responsible for the music of 2NE1 and Blackpink. In his early days.
Yeah, and Somi.
And Somi as well.
Somi in the Black label.
And then, of course, he's currently running the Black label, which he originally founded with, I think Zion T was
Yep.
part of it, but then Zion T recently left.
Yep.
Has his own, Zion T has his own label.
Definitely Teddy Park putting out the top quality K-pop songs of this generation.
Oh, Jesus.
I say,
Look,
Look, we'll get to my opinions on the quality of
So
Teddy
how do you
Park's
feel
music.
that Teddy's quality music? I mean, whether you think it's quality or not,
We'll
a lot of
get
it's
there.
iconic.
Look,
A lot of it's
it is iconic.
iconic.
He's
Iconic
done
don't
he's
mean
done the
good.
same thing.
I know.
But just a slightly different and worse
Teddy
each
Park. If
iteration
you told
he's
me
done
Teddy Park stopped producing music and in 2012, I would believe you. If you told me that Teddy Park just became a hermit in 2012 and all YG has access to is songs he wrote that year and before, I would believe you.
Yeah, to say he has a consistent
my opinion
style
on
is
Teddy
very
Park's
much an
style.
understatement. He's very
But
predictable.
like to the point where I don't think he's up to I don't know if Teddy Park has listened to music beyond when he was writing for 21. I don't know if he knows what current music sounds like. Because like it just sounds like more of his own music. Like all of it sounds.
I mean,
like the
either
same
way,
sound,
he's
no
he's the one
updates.
laughing to the bank at the end of the day. Because no doubt,
Again, we'll get to my opinions on the quality of the music when we get to the
quality's
actual artists
questionable. But either
producing
way,
for it.
sold a lot,
Fair enough.
streamed a lot, and he's laughing his way to the bank.
Yeah, but is that because of the quality of the music? Because generally
It was
speaking, I
popular
don't
either way.
know.
I'm not saying it was
Here's the
quality,
thing.
but it was
Here's the-
popular.
No, here's what I'm saying. If those songs were given to new goo girl groups, would they be popular?
I'm not going to answer that question.
I will. No.
Probably not.
I will. No. If you gave even 21 songs to new goo girl groups, nobody would give a shit.
Either way, it's still sold. It still sold money
It's
somehow.
YG. Of course it's going to sell.
But
Moving along.
along with though these
Moving.
two other groups, there were actually a string of other artists under the group. Notably Perry, who actually back in the day in previous music shows, you could see a very, very young G-Dragon performing with them. And even in one of them, slipping on stage entirely. Poor thing. Sweet Tea,
Busted
which
ass.
is a group we've basically touched up upon due to the one of the members
The YG
being
wife
tricked into marrying
problem.
YG, the man.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, again, look up that group. Look up how that group. Honestly, if we're talking about mismanaged of YG, we've only been talking about good management from YG thus far because, again, it sort of let people do whatever they want. You want to know what's bad management? Purposefully tanking a group. Can you tell I'm angry about
No,
this?
you're not
Can you
angry,
tell
Sammy. You're
I'm
not angry
Can
at
you
all.
tell I like think this is because they're fine. They're not like the best group of the 90s. They're not a group I particularly like.
They were pretty generic. They were very generic.
Fine.
You could tell that they
They're
were heavily
whatever.
influenced
I
by
don't-
American R&B. It's
I
like,
also don't think that group was gonna go too many places.
yeah.
But like just the fact that they essentially purposely tanked them because it is admitted by YG
Himself,
It is
casually
he's
in an
admitted
interview.
this. He has said this. There is evidence of him saying this. This is not theory. This is not rumors. Of him saying he stopped giving them comebacks and that he essentially wanted this group to fail because he liked one of the members. That's fucked. That's manipulation. Do not get into a relationship with your boss. That's
Or
not
your
okay.
former boss, probably. Just in general.
It was her boss. He was her boss.
Well, he
too.
was,
Like,
but I think
he
after they
tanked her
disbanded, he
career.
became a former
Yeah, but
boss.
he
But still.
No, but he tanked her career
Yes.
so he could be her
Yes.
former boss.
Yes.
Like, that's not...
Also, you know
Like,
what makes
that's
this
fucked.
worse? She's the sister of a guy who is a member of a group that eventually joins into YG. We will get to that later.
We'll get to a lot of things, but... Like, if we're talking about management issues, this is the biggest management blunder that YG has ever made because it just turns into...
That's such a
not
hot
just
mess. Oh, God.
Like, everything else can be attributed to, like, bad management decisions are made every day. You don't know the future. You cannot predict what
This
will
is
hit. You
because
cannot
the
predict
boss is
everything else.
horny over someone
is-
younger than him.
Yeah, this is actual, like, misconduct in the office.
Basically.
Like, this is not an okay situation.
Even if
that
he
happens.
supposedly waited till the group disbanded and blah, blah, blah.
Even
But, like, and
that's-
she was
yeah,
an adult
You want to know why that...
still.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
Still.
I don't care. The reason that group disbanded is because you wanted them to disband.
He
That's the
admitted
fucked
that
part.
he purposely didn't give them any comeback and like purposely mismanaged them so they would disband.
And also, who has
He
the
admitted
final
that.
say on whether or not that group disbands?
The boss.
You do as the main boss of this company.
The boss.
You have a say in it. Like, I'm sorry, you manipulated the situation. You did this. Like, it is one of the worst situations that I've heard of because it is not that someone made poor financial decisions. It's not that someone even like stole money from the company and it was like, this is purposeful. This is purposefully fucking with not even just her as the person that he wanted to get with, but everybody else in this group got
Yeah, the
fucked
other
over.
two girls got screwed over.
The
because
other
of
two
that.
girls
Because
got
their boss was horny
fucked
over
over.
the one girl that he eventually married.
Yeah.
Because she got pregnant.
It's fucked. Moving
Anyways,
on. There's
some
more
other
people
groups,
that we're gonna gloss
they had
over.
a duo called Big Mama. They were two women. They weren't actually huge people, but that was the group name. Singer named
I wouldn't be
Lexi.
surprised if they were, though.
And then two other artists that actually are more notable on OSTs and charts, Gummy and Weesun, especially Weesun. I actually recommend checking them out. They're pretty good artists. But yeah, I will say
Gummy does
one
a
other
lot
anecdote
of
before moving on
OSTs.
to our next person. I will say there are some YG back in the day used to do company albums. If
I
you
was
ever look
gonna
up
say
like
that
the
they did a lot of
YG
YG
Millennium
family
one,
albums.
there's like one
I
of them
mean-
where they're all sitting holding like fake assault rifles, and it's in like 90s futuristic clothing.
I've heard a lot of the YG family albums because I played a lot of that YG like rhythm game that was out for a little bit. It's not Superstar or whatever, but YG had a separate one. So I played through a lot of like the really bad sounding YG family songs on that.
God. Again, I think, weirdly, there are times where I kind of want those, because family songs used to be a thing for, like, every company. In a weird way, I want them to return because I find them almost
I don't.
endearingly embarrassing.
I don't want those anymore.
I find them weirdly endearingly embarrassing because they're so bad,
Well,
and
here's
no one looks
here's
happy.
the thing with that is now when there's
But-
family songs, 50-50 chance it's a Christmas song. And I
Fair.
don't want
It's
any more
usually
Christmas
a Christmas
music.
song. Again, if I could request that they're not like, don't do them for Christmas, do them for like a different like if they could
Just
do
at
like
any other point in the
any
year
other
that's
point.
not Christmas.
Don't make them a
Literally
Christmas song.
anything but Christmas.
because again, the Christmas songs are always shit, but the ones that aren't Christmas songs, because there's some that are not, I find them endearingly embarrassing.
But yeah,
Some
moving
listen.
on. Who wants to tackle?
Sure. So, next notable artist out of YG Entertainment was the soloist Seven, who debuted in 2003. And he was the first actual, like, quote-unquote K-pop idol of the company. And it was also the first time YG tried to cross over into the American market, and that didn't really go well for Seven, but this is kind of the same situation that, like, happened with the Wonder Girls, where, like, the companies are trying to do Western American promotions and, like, don't really know what they're doing yet. So I don't really put that blame on them too much.
Again, it's one of those things where if somebody needed to fail, somebody needed to fail. Also, I always have to figure out my thing with Seven, because I always get his American career confused with Rain's American career, because they happened at, like, the same time.
So you know how YG and JYP do their weird trainee battle things all the time? The first one they ever did was Rain and Seven.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, no, those two came to prominence around the same time. Those two were constantly competing, and, like, because I always think that it was Seven that did that terrible American movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was not. It was Rain. Seven did a bad drama called Princess Hours.
Oof.
Yeah, I will say the only thing that they did with Seven is that they did actually push him into both China and Japan as well, so he managed to release albums in those two respective countries.
I mean, they pushed
so they pushed him like Rain was pushed in a way. So
they pushed him in China, they pushed him in America, they pushed him in Japan, they pushed him in every market that they could possibly imagine to push people in.
And considering also this is their first attempt at a K-pop idol, and it's a soloist, and it's, like, not even a group yet, is probably like really confusing for them trying to figure out what to do with him, really.
Yeah.
Again,
because he's not hip hop. Well, not that much hip hop.
It's his. He isn't. Like, there are elements to it, but Seven is really trying to focus on, like, the broad pop spectrum.
Yeah.
As opposed to everything that they've done before this, which is far more not niche, but, like, not as poppy.
Yeah.
And yes, I don't think there's that many, unless we do know about, like, the disciplinary action in his military. Doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with YG. We are aware that that's that is specifically a Seven scandal.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a YG scandal. They had no ability to make any form of.
Yeah, he did have a military kerfuffle, but, like, at that point he was in the military when that happened.
YG couldn't do anything about that. Like, YG literally couldn't help or hurt him. That was him in the military.
Yeah, this was when him and someone of Mighty Mouse visited a massage parlor. So
yeah, YG can't help him there.
Can't control his urges, I guess.
I will say that I don't think YG ever particularly promoted them poorly. Him poorly specifically. Yeah. I think that
I think there's a lot of experimenting that had to happen, considering he was
I don't
first
think
of his type, really.
Again, I don't think trying to make him a star in China, Japan, the US, an actor, and, like, 18 other things that they were trying to push with this man was, like, the best idea, but, like, I guess throw everything at the wall.
Maybe we didn't have to do all of those things at once, but, you know.
Maybe especially with one person.
And either way, he stuck with YG till 2015, so.
Yeah, he was there a long ass time.
He was there forever.
Of course, his popularity kind of tapered by then, but, you know.
I mean, he has been there since 2003. Like, very few people popular in 2003. Are popular in 2022. Seven, I think, has sort of stayed at least as a legacy artist.
Definitely.
So next we come to, now we're going to start with the big ones, the ones that we have more to talk about.
Yes.
And I have the lovely task of going through all of Big Bang's scandals.
Oh, Big Bang.
A lot. So many. We've talked about so many of them already, too.
We've already spoken about a lot of them. We're going to reference other episodes, so we're just going to go. We are not going to explain these in detail. We are going to give one line and then sort of
spark notes of the scandals.
The Spark Notes version of these scandals. Look them up. They have been extensively spoken about by many people. So Spark Notes version, we're going to talk very quickly about how they were handled by YG, the company. So in 2006, we get the boy group Big Bang So prior to debut, they had a pseudo-survival show, one of the first, where Hyunsung of Beast was also in the lineup and was dropped last minute before their debut in favor of Seungri. I will continue to mention how, in my mind, those two would have switched lives and it would be a clusterfuck. Because, looking back, what would have happened? So much.
It would have been weird. We wouldn't have had Troublemaker, probably.
Or in my mind, we would have had Troublemaker, but with Seungri, and that wouldn't have happened. But it would in my mind.
Hence, we wouldn't have had Troublemaker.
Just doesn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't exist. But in my mind, like there is like a 2 seconds where like their lives just parallel switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hyunsung gets the same solo songs that Seungri got, and I'm like, that wouldn't happen. That doesn't fit him. But just imagine it. So that happens. That's not a scandal, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
In 2008, Taeyang gets a solo debut. In 2008, Daesung also gets a solo debut. In 2009, 9 through 2011, they had a nearly 2-year break from group activity. So they're active from 2006 to 2009. From 2009 to 2011, they sort of go on a little mini break where GD goes solo in 2009, and then 2010, 2011, we get the GD and Top album, which was mainly the focus of all of that promotion. And then in 2011, they go back to making group music, but also in 2011, G-Dragon has his marijuana scandal.
That was interesting in of itself.
I think that 2011,
a lot of things happened in 2011.
A lot of things happened. Let me finish what happened in 2011, and then I'll get to my theory, which in 2011, we also get Daesung's car accident, which is more people know about the GD marijuana scandal. Daesung's car accident is that he was in a car accident where a man died.
Yeah.
It was in Japan, right?
I don't think
no,
so.
it was in Korea.
It was
but
in
it's
Korea,
a huge.
right? No,
but oftentimes people think it's a huge part of the reason why he mainly did solo out work in Japan.
He does not. That is also why Daesung does not do work in Korea.
Yeah.
That often. And then in 2011, also Seungri has a solo debut. I think that 2011 is the year where this is looking back. I think that this is the year that YG is at the height of its power. Big Bang is a massive success.
Yes.
By this point, 21 is a massive success. Also by this point, Psy is gaining a lot of popularity because even though this is before Gangnam Style, Psy massively popular in Korea around this time. You also have a bunch of like other things going on. This is where YG is at the height of its power. YG is able to essentially get GD off of these marijuana charges. And you see how drugs are treated now.
Yes.
You get time.
Yeah.
G-Dragon ended up with nothing.
He lucked out.
Nothing happened to him.
Hardcore.
He lucked out, and this also you get Daesung, who has a car accident that kills a man. God only knows what was going on. That was probably actually an accident, but unscathed. Nothing, like, he can't really do solo work in Korea that much, but for the most part, unscathed. Like, this is the drug scandal with the least amount of consequences, considering the fact that the next year he is able to put out an album with no problem.
Oh, yeah, no.
This is like YG height of their power. This is YG height of their power being able to sweep shit under the rug. Because I'm sorry, when your excuse is, yeah, I didn't know it was weed, I thought it was a normal cigarette. Who the fuck confuses weed with a normal cigarette? What the fuck? Alright, so then from 2013 to 2014, Big Bang goes on another 2-year hiatus because GD is in a, quote, creative slump.
Which, I mean, does actually happen to artists.
Does
and to be
happen,
fair,
I agree.
this was also after Fantastic Baby when
But
they really blew
also-
up, so
Yeah,
could
but
realistically
also,
as possible.
This begins, in theory, YG's pattern of giving their groups unnaturally long hiatuses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Unnaturally
again,
long for
Big
K-pop.
Bangs are longer than most of their other groups.
Fair.
Too.
Yeah, I
Yes,
would say
fair.
unnaturally
They're longer-
long for K-pop. Probably
But
would be seen
also-
as more normal from the States, but for K-pop, pretty long.
But for K-pop,
Yes.
like, we're dealing with K-pop.
Yeah.
K-pop, these are ridiculously long hiatuses. But also, even for a Western artist, with that 2009 to 2011, because they were doing other things,
Mhm.
but, like, just to go radio silent, from 2013 to 2014, it's almost radio silence
Yeah.
from Big Bang.
That's why that's why they didn't made in 2015 and had like a shit ton of music
yeah,
that year.
because it was ridiculous.
Because it had been a while since then.
Yeah, 2015 was like Big Bang's year. Because then they did like
10 songs all in the 1 year.
Yeah.
And I think GD actually released an album in 2013, 2014. 2013, he released an album. Coup d'etat.
2013, yeah. That was like, right before that hiatus like really got underway.
Yeah.
So then in 2017, Top enlists shortly after news of his marijuana scandal breaks to the media. A few days later, he is found unconscious in police barracks due to a drug overdose because, that happened. That is another thing where it's like, you see how these two drug scandals being 6 years apart were treated very, very differently.
Yeah.
I think that even by this time, you see that YG's power and influence sphere is sort of different, where like
2017 is a big turning year for YG and its like status in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
2017 was really
especially
the big
considering the
turning
fact
point
that
for
I think the other thing with it is that Top at that point was in the military. He had gone into the military before.
Well, that and G-Dragon's drug scandal happened in Japan.
Well, the other thing with it is that I think that the thing with Top is that Top was out of their sphere of influence. Everything about that
he was in like
undertaken
military
by the
courts
military.
at that point.
It was military. Everything about that was handled by the military. YG had far less ability to finagle anything out of it, which is, I think, how a lot of them get out of these scandals. So there's that, plus the fact of, like, by this point, I think the sphere of influence of YG has sort of changed a little bit. So then in 2018, we get good news. Taeyang gets married to his girlfriend, now wife, Min Hyo-rin, who he'd been dating since 2013, and then in 2021 they had their first child.
It's cute. They met on his set for a music video too. I think it was for a B-side they filmed for.
That was for Wedding Dress.
I thought it was Wedding Day.
No, I don't think it was Wedding Dress. This was for 2013 they met. This was for his solo album.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that happened. And then 2019, Burning Sun happens. I'm not going to go into Burning Sun. Burning Sun was a clusterfuck.
We talked about Burning Sun.
We have a 2.5 hour podcast on Burning Sun alone.
The only important thing about Burning Sun to know...
Sungri retires at that point. Sungri is gone.
Because he didn't really have a choice.
We washed our hands of this. And then with
Sungri
the fallout
goes to prison.
And then also, between the fallout of that and the fallout of a bunch of, like, tax scandals of YG, this
gambling
is also
and other things.
Gambling and tax scandals and a bunch of other stuff. This is also the catalyst for YG, the man. Stepping back from YG, the company. And then in 2022, all members are discharged from the military, and they had a digital single comeback this year.
And then TOP leaves YG.
Point, Top leaves YG this year as well. So
like immediately
now
after
we're
that.
down to now we're down to 3, and who knows what the future of Big Bang holds.
Top honestly, also seemingly very happy to be out of YG Entertainment.
Top, I think, seemingly very happy to be out of being an idol.
Yeah.
Well, I think I want to blame Top. Like, the dude's been burned over
I think
the coals.
Top has very good reasons to be thankful of not being an idol anymore, but I think he's thankful. So, what do we think of the I think Big Bang got... Weirdly, I think Big Bang flew too close. I think Big Bang is the Icarus of YG. Big Bang is the Icarus.
Honestly,
Big
that's
Bang
pretty
is
appropriate,
the
I
one
think.
That, like, they blew up YG.
They did.
Big Bang...
They made YG the company as it is today.
But they also made them the company that it is today, and they were their downfall.
For better and for worse.
Burning Sun
they were both the rise and the fall of YG
Entertainment. They were the rise and the fall. Because
really Sungri was. I want to say the rest of them more, but really was
by
Sungri.
Himself really derailed the entire company.
But, like, thinking about it, like, you also have them creating patterns in YG, like them proving essentially that you can take big gaps in groups and the group's popularity will stick. That is the beginning with Big Bang.
Yes.
That is something that they will continue to do with, I think, every single one of their artists. All of them do this, except maybe Akmu, but we'll talk about that.
Akmu's different, though.
Akmu almost doesn't count.
Yeah.
But, like, looking at their groups, they do this all the time, at least in the early stages. This proves that this is something that's possible. they become massively popular. They prove that every one of these people can do solo debuts. They prove that you can have a ridiculous amount of success. And then they also prove that YG is a powerful company that can also has influence outside of music. They can get you out of a fucking drug scandal.
Hell yeah. Which is,
And
I mean, hell yeah for
then
if
they
you
also-
are an artist and you need that. But otherwise...
And then they also prove that there is a limit to what they can get you out of.
Mhm.
Because Burning Sun, no one can get you out of.
No,
is
that's just
too
way
much.
too
Burning Sun
much.
Way
fucks,
too much
like,
It's
going
too
on
much,
there.
also Burning
too much
Sun-
corruption just to,
Yeah,
like,
Burning
easily
Sun
skate
is
by
the-
that.
And then Burning Sun becomes the catalyst for investigations about your tax evasion and your gambling statuses and your, like, all these other things that, like, maybe they weren't gonna look into, but now that they're already looking at you, maybe let's, like, dig
God,
a
I
little
remember
under
there was
the
a whole
surface
thing with
and see
moving
what's also
files from
there.
YG. That was a whole
Ugh.
freaking scandal of them trying to
That's
get
a
rid
mess.
of files.
Everything was
and,
a
oh
mess.
God.
I think that Big Bang is one of the most influential K-pop groups of all time.
Yes.
For many reasons, but I also think that they prove they are the rise and fall of a full fucking company.
Yep.
Or at least a chapter of a company.
I mean, now I think we are in a current YG feels like a completely different YG than 2015 YG.
It does.
It feels like
It does.
Even though there are some of the same artists, some of the same everything, but for the most part, they feel like two completely different companies. And I think that there was a major, maybe not change in sound, but change in at least maybe company culture or like what the company is
Mm-hmm.
between the two eras of YG, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, Big Bang is just like one of those things that just kind of makes me sad. Because of all the like Sungri, God, he just like tarnished so much for the group for me.
Somebody fucked up a lot.
Like, and I also liked his solo music
We
too the
so
most
love-
initially as well. So that like fucks with me.
his
I haven't
solo
listened to his
music-
solo music since all this shit went down.
No. Weirdly, other than G-Dragon, who I think is the best artist out of
Of the Big Bang,
Y-
yeah, I agree.
Maybe of Big Bang,
Yeah.
definitely. Maybe up there with some of my favorites from YG generally.
Mhm.
But like in terms of the other I say other three. It's four of them. Sungri was there.
Yeah.
I've deleted him from my mind. Of the other four, I did like probably Sungri is the second most because it was far more my style, and I just cannot listen to that music anymore. It's weird.
Yeah.
He becomes someone that you almost like. I know
It's
we
weird to
tend
think
like,
how
not
Taeyeon
love-
has been like the cleanest member of Big Bang.
He's a good Christian
It's
boy.
weird for me
So
still to think that.
He's such
Good
a good
Christian
Christian
boy.
boy.
It's honestly
And
amazing.
that's not even a
Honestly,
joke.
it's
He just
impressive.
is a good
I don't know
Christian
what the fuck
boy.
he did to keep himself grounded, but
He has a
clearly
baby.
it worked.
He's got a baby now.
Congratulations to him and his wife, and that baby boy.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, how do
that-
we feel overall about management?
I think that YG almost had to be reaction because Big Bang. I feel like
It feels everything about it feels very reactionary.
Yeah.
So-
That's what
I
happens
think-
when
I
every
think this
single
is a
member
lo-
of your group has major scandals.
Yeah.
I also think that, generally speaking, I think that this is one of the major culture shifts of YG. I think in early stage YG, you see them sort of allow these groups to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Maybe not, we'll get to 21, maybe not as much with 21, but at least with Big Bang, and even looking back to, like, your sevens and your one team and all of that, like, they seem like you're, like, letting the artist guide what they want to do. As opposed to, like, current YG, which I think is essentially been forced to become your normal idol company, which is that, like, yeah, no, we gotta rein these kids in before they fuck shit up.
Well, I
Because we
mean,
saw
getting
what
their
happens when
ass
you give them
exposed to the
absolute
universe
freedom.
through the Burning Sun scandal and the fallout of,
That's what I'm saying, is,
YG
like,
the Man, I think,
when you
kind of
give
like
them
was like,
too much
we need to
freedom-
shift shit now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When you give them too much freedom, you get Burning Sun. How do you not expect K-pop companies to be a little stricter?
Yeah.
Especially the company that had Burning Sun happen to
Not
them.
even to make sure that they're better people, just on the basis of just making sure they don't embarrass them in the future.
Yeah, like,
Just on that.
absolutely fucking not. We just need them to act like normal people, not psychopaths.
Yeah.
Not psychopaths
Be like
who do
active-
what Burning...
Active criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a, like, weirdly, there is a different, like, I feel like if YG's worst scandal were, like, like, if YG was known as the drug company, I feel like they would just sort of let it, like, yeah, sure, we're, like, we can get them out of, like, drug scandals aren't that bad, they're, like, the cool company. No, the minute you get shit like Burning Sun, that's when you're like, well, fuck!
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like if it was, like, a lesser scandal, like, if it was just that they, like,
If it
all
wasn't
smoked
like
weed.
the largest scandal in the K-pop industry.
No, then you get fucking Burning Sun, which, like, put a bunch of people in jail.
Yeah.
Idols in
Such
jail.
a mess. It's such
It
a
was a fucking
terrible
mess.
mess, but...
Sungri's still in jail. Sungri gonna be in jail till, like, the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
Not long enough, in my opinion. but
No,
still,
I
like,
just...
Sungri currently still in prison.
So I think Jung Joon-young is either out of jail or almost out of jail too, so that's also very upsetting.
Depressing. Doesn't Sungri still also immediately have to do military service after prison?
I thought he did it.
I thought
Or
he already
did
did
before
it.
and then went into prison?
Yeah.
Is that the
I didn't think
timeline?
it would start until he was done.
Sure. Well, then we'll see what happens next with him. Or we won't, and we never have to hear about him again. I vote for the second one.
I
don't
wouldn't be
think he would
surprised,
be
though,
al-
for
I don't-
tabloid's sake, they try to talk about him in Korean
I don't
news.
think there will be allowed to have a career anymore.
I don't
think
he
anyone will allow
but
that.
like, who the fuck knows? I hope I never have to be confronted with him again. All right.
Next
so
group.
Maria, do you want to go through the next group?
Sure thing. We're gonna talk about why the first, I guess you could say there was Big Bang, and then there was their sister group, 2NE1. They debuted in 2009. Their song Fire became a hit smash. A lot of songs after that became smashes, all thanks to the, for better or for worse, the music production and writing of Teddy Park. Oh, he appeared, and he mainly does a lot of songs for...
He appears and will not
Yeah.
go away.
Will not go away. They
Will
kind of stick
never
him with the
go
women.
away.
They're just like, you will do the woman music.
Well, here's the thing. This also begins YG's absolute pattern of the men are allowed to make their own songs. The women, Teddy.
Yes.
Yes.
The women,
That is still
here's
what we're
Teddy.
doing in YG Entertainment.
Here is Ted.
men,
Teddy boy.
figure it out.
Figure it out,
Women,
Teddy boy.
here.
But yeah.
Here's Teddy.
But anyways, 2013, CL has a solo debut. 2014 is where Park Bom had her whole Adderall drug scandal thing.
Which again, we talked
shouldn't
about
have been
in
a
the
big
Scandal
deal. We
Iceberg.
talked about that already. But basically, that put her on ice for doing work too much. And in April of 2016, Minzy leaves YG, and Dara and CL renew their contracts with YG later that year. And then, but the group does disband in 2016. And CL, Dara, and Park Bom released a song Goodbye in January of 2017. And then eventually, is Dara still under YG?
I think so.
I think
I believe so.
Okay, so Dara's still in the YG, but CL leaves YG in 2019. And basically has probably released way more music than she ever did when she was under
Absolutely.
YG.
I think, again, looking at 21 was from 2009 through, let's say 2016, because 2017
It was
almost doesn't
January
count.
2017,
It was
so that barely
January.
counts.
We're not gonna count it. Looking at the amount of music released by 21, it is not that much.
It's not a lot.
It is not a lot, and also you got
Compared to their
that a lot of-
contemporaries, it's not a lot.
Again, compared to not even contemporaries, compared to their peers.
Compared to any
True, and
other
their
girl
peers, their
group that had a
contemporaries and their
7-year
peers.
career.
Yeah,
Yeah.
compared to their peers, they were releasing almost. Again, a lot of people get surprised by how little. Again, we'll get to Blackpink. I think Blackpink they're pushing it on the amount of music Blackpink is releasing to an extreme. But it's not that like 21 ever had a great comeback schedules.
They're like on, Blackpink is essentially on the 21
Again,
schedule of music.
Blackpink is maybe
Yeah.
pushing it. Like
Yeah.
they're pushing that to like. They're pushing like the 21's amount of music to like the brink, because again, I still think 21 got a little bit more,
Yeah.
but it wasn't by
a lot.
A lot of people compare Blackpink to, like, their contemporaries or, like, a different girl group from a different company, but, like, even with YG, like, YG does this all the fucking time.
Let's also talk about how YG would constantly call 21 his ugly girl group.
Yeah, he literally called them ugly, and it's like...
And that's how he would talk about them and promote them, and I'm just like, is this the way you really want to be talking about your only girl group at your company?
Again, we've heard how YG talks to people, like... I've seen clips of Mix 9. YG talks to people that aren't even that he's not even paying.
Yeah, YG, the man sucks.
Awful person.
It's horrible.
Not that we needed any more examples of YG the person being awful.
Terrible.
Yep.
But yeah, 21, I think this is pretty clear that this is the beginning of the whole longer hiatus for the girl groups. Like, and let's give them little, because we don't have to put too much effort into them, because they're making a ton of money with a few songs.
This is where the YG strategy of, like, giving very few comebacks comes into place, because then when they do come back, it sells, like, extra well, because people have been waiting for years for it. So that's like,
people also just
accept
whatever's puts in front of them, because it's like, well, it's this or nothing. It's not even like you can... Because, like, you'll take, again, to give the opposite comparison of a group that probably does too much, you have a Twice comeback. A Twice comeback, you cannot like a Twice comeback, because you know in, like, 5 months you're gonna get another one that's like, well, this one's better.
Yeah.
Like, you can be a little more picky with your Twice comeback.
I mean, at this point, it's more once a year, but back in the earlier days,
but, like, they have a back catalog of, like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like, they have a ridiculous amount of comebacks. And between, like, between your Korean and your Japanese comebacks, you're getting at least 2 to 3 a year of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very least, what you're, like, there's a lot more to be picky about, as opposed to your 21, which is that, like, well, it's this, or I'm waiting 2 years with nothing.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate.
It is. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, I've never been a big fan of, like, how they manage this, the 21.
There is a very clear way,
and they also
YG
very clearly push
CL
to the get-go.
Very clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing with it. Because we oftentimes talk about how, like, there's management decisions and management choices that we think are, for our opinion, artistically bad.
Mm-hmm.
But think of it, and, like, this is essentially playing devil's advocate, monetarily, it works.
It did. Because they're like, well, we don't have to put in as much money, so we can get still a ton of money out of it.
Exactly. They don't have to put in money for 3 comebacks a year, and they make the money as if they did 3 comebacks in a year by just waiting a little bit longer.
Exactly.
I think that overall, like, while I can think that the management decision is bad artistically, this is a fucking company that's here to make money.
Yeah. And it is also clearly works for
matter.
Both of his girl group. It's clearly works for both of his girl groups, too.
Yeah, exactly. Objectively speaking, it worked.
Mm-hmm.
It worked so well that they did it for the next girl group.
Yeah, and they had a couple world tours too. So, like,
for as much as I can say I hate this from an artistic level, I can't say I hate it from a
business decision.
I can't say they're wrong. I can't say that YG was wrong to do this.
So yeah, business-wise, I think it was smart. Artistic-wise, though, I think it's bad.
Again. But, like, to talk about it, like, I can say that I don't like it, but I also don't like a lot of 21 songs, so that's entirely objective opinion.
Yeah, Teddy was really into experimenting with the pop craze in the States during that time that 21 was active in the earlier days, which was the electronic craze, the electronic pop craze.
He still is. It's 2022.
It's evolved though. It's not the same.
It's evolved now, but like he's like putting out the same type of thing.
Yeah,
it's similar.
He's still there. Teddy, it's time, buddy. It's time. But yeah, objectively speaking, I think that's going to be a running theme with YG, which is, I mean, I don't like it, but it worked.
YG has such a clear way that he I guess not really he anymore, but the company promotes girl groups versus boy groups. It's like they follow the exact same formula every time now. And
And
it works.
the thing
It's not like it has worked with every single
And
group
the
they
thing
It's
is,
worked
this is
so
not
far. I
even a
don't know how much
fucking
longer
secret.
it's going to work. You know,
It's but the other thing is that like, no, we'll get to it when we talk about Blackpink. But I'm not gonna mention it now.
Mhm.
But like, looking at it, it's not even that it's a secret. People fucking make jokes about it. People like
the YG
go-
dungeon is just like a
The
term
YG
we have. in
it's
the
just a
K-pop here.
term.
Mhm.
It is people have fucking predicted the structure of YG songs before they come out. Like
Exactly.
they predict 100% of what's gonna happen.
And then
in the
there's
comeback.
like the YG ending
But-
chorus. That's like a thing,
Yeah.
the term that people know and are aware of.
But here's the thing. It never fails. It always is especially for their girl groups, it fucking sells every time. They have never been forced to change because every time it's a bigger hit than the last one. What they have no reason to change. When you're not telling them you want anything, like you're sure you can say you want something different, but unless you actually, I don't know, unless there's consequences for what they're doing, they're never gonna change.
Yep.
Why would they?
Exactly.
It's a minimal effort, maximum reward strategy.
Exactly.
Any other company,
Which is like
would
the
kill
ultimate
for
goal
it.
for any company in general.
Exactly. Like absolutely. Like why the fuck would they change?
And on
The
top of
only
that,
way-
consumer
the
fan
only
base
way
still
it-
streams
yeah.
the shit out of and listens
Exactly.
to the shit out of music. So
Like,
The
it
only
worked
way
with
it would
21.
change is if the fan base decided to not support their favorite groups anymore, which is not going to happen.
and
So-
decide to not
Exactly.
support it as much as they have with like, especially with Blackpink.
And like there's a difference between not supporting it and like just deciding like no, I'm fucking not like. And the thing with it is that every time this happened a little bit with 21, but honestly, we'll get to it when we get to Blackpink more so. But like even people have expressed disappointment with YG all the time, and yet at the end of the day, they listen to it, they stream it. We'll get to it
Hell,
more
some of
when we
them
talk
somehow
about
still
Blackpink.
support Sungri. Still believe in OT5.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a whole
here's the
other
thing.
breed of people.
Here's the thing.
I'm thinking
that
of a
is-
certain particular person on the K-pop sphere.
Yes, I'm aware of who you're referring to.
Yeah.
But like that is, I don't think that specifically has to do with the YG management. I
No,
just
I
think that there are
don't.
people that are able to
That's
delude
just
themselves
people
into
who are
supporting
crazy.
anybody.
Yeah, but that
People
still
are
exists
insane.
too, by the way.
Again,
that out there.
these are the same people that like. There's also people that admire serial killers in a very odd way.
Yeah,
so, like,
early Tumblr, man.
there's
was
crazy
weird.
people everywhere.
Early Tumblr was weird.
Current
Tumblr's still weird somehow.
current
but-
Tumblr and
Tumblr
current people do
maybe
this.
weirder.
Who uses Tumblr
Moving on.
still?
No one
Yeah,
anymore.
no.
No one. No one cares.
Yeah.
But let's move on from 21.
Anyways.
All right, in 2010 is when Psy is gonna sign with YG Entertainment, and then in 2012 is when Gangnam Style is gonna happen.
Woo!
We all
Gangnam
know what
Style.
Gangnam
happens to
Style.
Gangnam Style.
Gangnam Style.
Hey,
Oh, fuck
sexy
Gangnam Style.
lady. Oh,
Was the
Oh,
one of the
Gangnam
most
Style.
viewed music videos of all time until a lovely Puerto
Despacito.
Rican singer took his throne.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a good song too, Despacito.
And I feel like
An icon.
YG handled everything with that pretty well because at this point in
mean-
time,
I
they
mean,
know what
Psy-
to do. They know what to do with American promotion
sort
more
of-
so now.
Yeah, you sort again, I think that you can say whatever you want about Psy's post Gangnam Style craze. I think that they, there were good steps and bad steps done with that, mainly because of how much of a joke Psy himself became, which I think
to
is
the
more a
Western
problem with the
audience?
American. Yes, because Psy was a joke. Gangnam Style itself was seen as a joke song, but also Psy became a joke
Yeah.
to the Western audience, which again,
That's an
and how much
America
they played
problem.
into. Yeah, that's more of an America problem, and also how they played into it. I mean, they played into it all the way to the fucking bank, and Psy is still a fucking legend.
And yeah,
Yeah.
he's still a legend within Korea at least.
I feel like
Yeah.
there was no other way to do that though.
Like, there is no, again, I think that if they tried to play him off as a series, like there was such a fucking balance to take with Psy, and I think they handled it as well as they could.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you have to admit that Gangnam Style is a silly fucking song.
It is.
That's just kind of how Psy
But
is
that's
with
the
his
point.
songs. They're fun
That's
and they're
why.
kind of wacky, but that's like what he does for his music.
Exactly. And again, I think that it was a turning point for you have to give props to Gangnam Style for it being the turning point of K-pop.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
K-pop was just it was a thing, but like the reason we see BTS, the reason you see Blackpink, the reason the reason partially this podcast fucking exists.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Somehow, even though Gangnam Style was not my first K-pop song, the reason we're all here is Gangnam Style.
Pretty
Somehow.
much.
It is it's like a defining event. There are defining events in the history of certain music. Gangnam Style is a defining event.
Mm-hmm.
You have to respect it.
Psy is then gonna leave YG Entertainment in 2018, and then he goes on to form P Nation. That, I feel like, is more so of Psy just wanting to be in charge of his own company, more so than him having specific problems with YG Entertainment.
Yeah, and he joined YG in general because he was dealing with a couple controversies here and there, so YG was kind of like a restart for him. Yeah. Essentially.
Again, Psy, if you look at Psy's career is YG is just a part of it. Psy has had a fucking long ass career. He's done so much with his life. It's there's so much in there.
Yeah.
So then from there, we get another just blip in YG, which is that in 2011, Tableau signs with YG and the other members of Epic High join after their military enlistment. So they're there for a couple of years, and they all leave YG in 2018.
They leave in 2019. The only other notable thing though about them is that Tableau does establish a sub-agency, High Ground, and they do have they included artists like other rappers, producers, mainly like Hyukoh, Code Kunst, and stuff like that.
Yeah, but for the most part, this is another blip in the YG sphere.
Yeah,
of, people that weren't established in YG,
and if anything,
and aren't there currently.
Yeah, it exposed the group though definitely to an international audience, and they're there. They were able to do things, and they moved on. You know.
Yeah, it was more like it's a stepping stone in the Epic High career, not so much the bit.
Yeah, it was a stepping stone after the whole Tanjiro thing for the whole group. So,
which again, if you want more on Epic High scandals, check our
that
previous
too.
videos.
But yeah, I mean, it's a hip-hop trio. They're going to be as well managed as they are.
We also did that too, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we had the first half of Epic High in the Woolham Entertainment episode, and then we get the Tableau Stanford scandal on the Scandal Iceberg. So we got all of that. And now we have
a little bit. Yeah. We're slowly just going to go through Epic High's career through various episodes of our podcast. So just, check back.
Yeah, I mean, they I think they let them do what they wanted because they were established. So and they released at least 3 albums underneath them, I think.
Well, it was 7 years.
Yeah.
8 years. So
they released at least Tableau released a solo album, and then I think the group released at least 3 that I can think of within their time at YG, which is pretty good for a hip hop group.
Yeah. So then after this, we go on to in 2012, YG the man would regularly appear as a host of K-Pop Star. Again, beginning YG 1, gaining a lot of trainees from K-Pop Star. Essentially, he gets his pick of the lot from that show, where whoever he sees and wants, he kind of just be like, hey, so, you want to come?
YG Entertainment.
Want to be in YG Entertainment? And a lot of them say yes. But also, again, it also does continue to bring up the fact that we see more of YG the man. And a lot of comments YG the man makes.
YG the man, a very public figure. JYP the man.
Yeah, becomes the face of the company in 2012 through, he's always the face of the company. It's not a secret who YG is. He was in Sojoji and the Boys, all of that other stuff.
Yeah.
But he becomes essentially a character and a spokesperson through K-Pop Star.
Yeah.
Because he is regularly on people's television. He is regularly showing his personality. He is regularly interacting with the public. And then that would continue on to other shows again, Mix 9. And not so much in K-Pop Star, But really, when you get to Mix 9, the man is a creep.
Well, that's also because
Yeah.
that's his show too, so he's like extra
Fair.
weird on that.
Yeah,
But
he's just
fair, but he's a
God,
creep.
He just acts creepy the whole time. He's just creepy.
He's just a creepy.
He's a creepy old man.
And
that's
the
just
older
how
he
is.
gets, the worse it becomes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
I'll also just handle this next one because it's so short. So in 2012, we also get Lehigh, a great soloist.
Mm-hmm.
She's a runner-up on K-Pop Star 1. So from there, she signs with YG, and then later leaves YG in 2019. Essentially, just when her contract under YG expires, she chooses not to.
Yeah, her promotion was interesting from time to time.
Again, I think the promotion of soloists generally within K-pop is, like, not so much a mixed bag, but it's, like, so dependent on the public's reaction. Like, if the soloist I'm not saying she was underutilized, because she didn't get comebacks, but it was...
I feel like she could have had more.
She
it's
coulda
like
had- she coulda
she is
been
in the same
doing
spot
more.
as Acmu, where it's like Acmu. I feel like weirdly, them and Lehigh are on the weird like YG promotional thing where they
Because-
don't get as many comebacks as other people, but they get more
No.
than like their girl groups.
Yeah.
But I feel like because
Yeah.
they are in a different genre, they should be more active than they are.
And also, just, like, I feel like Lehigh was never pushed. Because, like, soloists have this major freedom of just being able to do a bunch of stuff. Like, they can do things like collaborations. They can do things with, like, they can appear on different shows. They can do a lot of stuff. I felt like they never pushed Lehigh into almost anything except for her music.
Yeah.
Like, she would get a comeback, and then she kind of wouldn't do anything else.
Yeah, she was quiet for like significant chunks of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
stuff that she's released. Like I'm looking at
And
her
you-
work now, and it's like
Yeah,
there's like
there's not
gaps.
There's like
A
big
lot of-
gaps where she was just doing nothing,
Yeah.
stuck in the YG
Especially when you
dungeon,
look at-
as the term
Especially
goes.
when you look at her recent stuff, where, like, she's been so much more active recently.
Yeah,
Since
AOMG's been
leaving
letting her be
YG.
more active.
And, like, she does so much now. Good for her.
Yeah, she's done a lot more in the past like couple years comparatively.
Yeah. That's just the weird YG promotional strategy for you.
It's the YG dungeon of it all.
Yeah.
YG dungeon of it all.
2014, Akdon Musician, or short for AKMU or AKMU. They won K-Pop Star 2 in 2013. And also, as a side note, Ban Yedam was the runner-up on that season. He also signed with YG Entertainment at the time. And he would have been 11 years old. We will talk about Ban Yedam later on in this
We'll get to
video.
him.
We will get to
Biggie
him.
Dab spent his entire childhood at YG Entertainment.
But yeah,
And what did
AKMU,
it get him?
very
What
huge
did it get him?
successes. Very huge successes on the show. Got super popular.
I mean, AKMU, a success generally.
Yeah. No, they got huge on the show. They got huge after the show.
Far better than you would expect a
A brother-sister duo to do.
Very young brother-sister duo. Like, essentially child brother-sister duo.
Yeah, Sooyeon actually has a little duo debut with Ehai, and they're called as a Hi Sooyeon. I think that's only a one-time
Bobby
thing.
also in that music
Bobby
video.
makes
Yeah.
cameo in that
Bobby
music
in that
video.
music
Very
video.
fun.
That's before Icon. Bobby shows up.
Yeah,
That's
Bobby is
before.
like known to the public at this time, but he is not an
But,
icon yet.
Bobby is known, but not, what's it called?
Debuted.
Essentially, we had Win, but this is that weird middle period between Win and Mix and Match.
Mm-hmm. Then on 2017, the brother Chanhyuk enlists in the military, and he returns in
At a normal
2019. And then
age.
Sooyeon basically kind of does her own thing, but doesn't really release.
Soohyun
have music
gets
release.
to do nothing during the period of time
Yep.
Chan
She doesn't do absolutely nothing. She
does
like,
a
basically
solo
started up a
debut
YouTube and does
after
some
he
YouTube
returns.
stuff,
They,
but
like,
like no music.
It's so confusing to me that they didn't solo debut here until after Chan Hyuk came back. Like they had that
Did they
2-year
need Chan
stretch
Hyuk
where they
to
could have had her.
write
Yeah,
solo
they debuted
debut.
her in 2020.
My question is, did they
yeah.
require Chan Hyuk to write her a song? Because, yeah, all of AKMU's stuff is written by Chan Hyuk. He is sort of the...
But did he write Alien?
I don't think
I
he
don't
did
think he
Alien.
did.
It doesn't sound like it's like a
It
Chan
doesn't
Hyuk
sound
song.
like him, but, like, my thing was, did they need him to be around?
I don't know.
Well-
It's a weird YG things again.
it is weird. YG, like, it's such a
YG as a
random-
company does feel like slightly sexist in like a lot of ways between the way that he
Yeah. I
promotes
mean,
his female
yeah.
and male artists.
Yeah, such a choice.
Such a choice, but this is a group I love a lot. They just have
No,
these two
they are
siblings.
far-
They just have such good music. Like,
no, they're great.
even Sooyeon's solo stuff's pretty solid. She gets to have her own color by herself without, doing a dozy
Again,
thing.
her color, yeah, they have managed to make her separate. Her solo stuff
It's
very
completely different
than
than
the stuff with her.
Acme stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, because she gets to do her own thing, try out some things without her brother's influence. But she hasn't done too much. She's mainly done just OSTs, and then just Alien.
so her brother did write lyrics for Alien.
Okay.
He was involved, so I guess they did
Okay,
need him
involved
to come back
lyrically,
to
but
write her.
musically, I don't.
No,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
he
that doesn't
involved in
seem-
the lyrics and composition.
Okay.
I don't know if there's like I'm trying to find who the other writers here are, but for the most part, I am seeing that he was involved in this. So I guess they did need him to come back.
Yeah, but it's in a
Is that
style
like,
that
couldn't
he would
you
never
leave her?
do.
No, it's a style that fits her. It's a style that specifically, I guess, it's a style that I can see him being involved in, but that he does not want to participate in.
Yeah.
He's like, this is yours. Have fun with this. The thing with them is I think that they could be doing so much more. They're both so talented.
Yeah.
They could be, but
And
I
I
also
just-
wonder if it's just their choice not to, to take their time. And, that's why I go back and forth when it comes to YG stuff, because this is
I
not a
don't
regular
know.
idol group we're talking about. This is like your average
No,
artist.
I feel like I
But-
contribute almost none of their success actually to YG Entertainment because
No.
I have like zero part
Because
of
the
the
thing
artistic
with
direction
YG
or anything with the
Again,
group.
I feel like YG is almost just sort of like sitting back and seeing the act, because again, I don't think YG as a company has any ability to help ACMU at all.
No.
What could they give them with the style?
I
of
mean,
music
besides
that
like
ACMU
money for
Money?
a tour and like
That's
a
what I'm saying.
music
But
video.
like any company, like I feel like again, if they were under like weirdly your SMs, even like your JYPs, I feel like they have more structural like ability to give help to an artist like ACMU.
Mhm.
And like they both re-signed their contracts, so they're clearly
Yeah.
not unhappy with being at YG Entertainment. So
Yep.
I
Well, at
feel
least
like
not that unhappy.
YG doesn't. I feel like they
YG
really
sort of sits
just
back
don't
and sees
do
what
anything
happens.
with them and just kind of gives them the funds when they need it, and then
When
like
they
that's
need the
really.
funds.
Although I
it,
still
yeah.
kind of go back and forth whether they actually did purposely not let Sooyeon release music while her brother was busy doing the military or not. I kind of go back and forth on that. But honestly,
I don't
maybe she
know,
just
because-
wanted a fucking break too, They were quite busy from like 2013 onwards, and maybe
Who the hell knows? The
Yeah.
other thing I have to think about is them being allowed to do whatever the fuck they want, is other the fact that like Chan Hyuk went to the military at normal age.
yeah, he
didn't
was able
go
to
pushing fucking 30,
he was able to do it as
like
a normal
most idols
person.
do. He is
Mhm.
he was normal Korean age, which is, for people that don't know, the way idols do military service is abnormal because they go when they're pushing into their 30s, like they wait last minute to have the longest career possible. He went essentially normal age. He was like what,
Like
20,
2021, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, that is usually when they go, like right out of high school or 2 years into college usually. And honestly, good for him. Get it over with while you're young.
Yeah.
Alright, so our next group is Winner. So Winner debuts in 2014. Got a lot of pre-debut stuff for Winner though.
So much pre-debut.
So in 2010, Sangyoon appears on Superstar K2 and then signed with YG the following year. Jinwoo got recruited to YG by Sangri through his music academy, which is unfortunate
Ugh.
for him.
Which again, looking back, questionable.
Questionable. In 2012, Sanghoon will go on K-Pop Star 1 and then will sign with YG Entertainment the same year after the show. And then Sangyoon will solo debut briefly in 2013. Before Winner even debuts and Win even happens. Makes a little solo debut. And then later in 2013 is when Winner goes on the show Win, Who Is Next, with all of the members of iKON minus Chan Woo. And then they were, Team A on that show.
They were Team A,
Mhm.
yeah.
And they win. and then they debut as winner as they won the show.
I want to put it out there. It is the knee. Again, I'm gonna say it's the knee slapper opinion that Icon should have won.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Icon should have won that show.
Yes.
Just putting it out there.
Yep.
Just for climax alone, I think Icon should have won.
The thing is, though, is that if winner did not win that show, they wouldn't have gotten mix and match.
Yeah, Winner probably was the group that would not have been given a second chance. I think it was pretty clear that YG liked
was
Icon
in love
more.
with Icon and wanted them to debut.
Again,
so if Winner did not win that show, they wouldn't have debuted. Like,
so I'm kind of glad Winner did win ultimately, because they would not have.
Looking back, yes, Winner should have won, or else we wouldn't have Winner. But looking at the quality of performances put in front of me, I was also in love with Icon on that show.
Mm-hmm.
They were better. Sorry.
So, Winner's gonna have a interesting time right after debut.
do.
So they make their official debut in 2014. Pretty immediately go on a hiatus from group activities in all of 2015. So the members can, quote unquote, do solo activities, despite their debut being very successful.
Mm-hmm.
And also, despite them not really doing solo activities.
Don't really know what was going on there with that whole thing.
Despite none of them debuting solo for many years.
Don't know what was happening in
Very
2015 for Winner.
Again, this would become a pattern with YG boy groups for a hot second until he realized it didn't work like it did for his girl groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't know why they were doing that. In 2016, Nam Taehyun will take a hiatus from the group due to health reasons, and then he will officially leave Winner later that year. And that was due to creative differences and the fact that I don't think he enjoyed being a K-pop idol.
Fair enough. And then looking at the differences between Winner pre him leaving and post him
Different
leaving,
group.
you really do see the
Completely
difference.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
You see the
honestly.
creative differences.
He's had an interesting turn of events recently too, right? Because now he's under.
Well, he then goes on. He forms a band called the South Club, and that has been all over the place a little bit in like weird survival shows.
Weird comments.
Yeah.
Weird comments.
And then he's
have
in his
been
own
made
scandal.
Again, weird comments have been made around one of my favorite groups.
Yeah, he somehow made himself drama with One Wee on this band show for some reason.
Honestly, if I ever meet this man, it's on site. It's how fucking dare
Sammy's
you.
gonna deck Nam
fucking dare you.
Taehyun if you ever
I
meet him.
could.
I don't know if you'll
sorry,
need
have you
to because
seen
he's undergoing drug charge. Under investigation for.
But also,
Oh, yeah.
have you seen Nam Taehyun? I could
meth?
deck Nam
Is it meth?
Taehyun.
He's under
Look
drug
at him.
charges for
I think
Meth,
it is.
yes.
Yeah, I think it's meth.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Blood.
meth. It's question. Like I could deck Nam Taehyun. Look at him. The wind could deck Nam Taehyun. It's on site.
God.
It's me and Nam Taehyun out back. Don't worry about it. How fucking
We
dare
don't
you?
promote
How
violence,
fucking dare
but
you, Nam Taehyun?
I will probably
But if
have
you
my moment
disrespect
at some
one
point
way-
of wanting to deck.
If you
people, so.
disrespect one way,
Yep.
how fucking dare you?
So
Fucking
Jeez.
no one else cares about one way. I have to care the most.
So after he leaves that group, they reform in 2017 and make a comeback after a 14-month hiatus.
Ridiculous.
Just,
But I mean, I will say it is really, really, which did essentially reset that.
that's it.
group.
It did.
That
It was like
did.
a complete.
And it
cultural
was pretty
reset for
popular.
Winner.
So
Yeah, it was very popular. It's like Winner debuted in 2014 and then went on this long ass hiatus, almost so YG could debut Icon and give them all of their debut promotions
essentially
instead.
just giving Icon hey, okay, I know you won, but
now
these guys
Icon's
more.
debuting and they need all of the YG money, so you're gonna have to sit there for a while.
yeah, because
while we
Icon
figure it
always
out.
gave Big Bang, little brother Big Bang vibes.
Well-
Let's be honest.
Well, here's the thing with Icon. Icon just gave YG energy because Icon
Winner
just
has
feel
less
like,
YG energy.
yeah,
has
except
less
for
YG
Minnow.
energy.
Minnow probably has more YG energy.
Well, I feel like Winner and Icon's entire careers are so intertwined with each other because they
really are.
How can they not be? Because later in 2017, Mino debuts in a solo a subunit with Bobby called Mob, and then
Again.
I love that subunit. I would like
Amazing.
more things
Incredible.
from that subunit, but
Yeah.
we have only got the one thing.
Also, we mentioned at some point that in 2014, Bobby is in Born Hater, but so is Minnow.
Minnow is also in Born
at some
Hater.
point in this whole clusterfuck of time.
Yes.
So, maybe that's the solo
that-
activities they were talking about? Is that what they were? Is that what the Is that
the
what
one
the
solo
is that
activity
the one
Mino
thing?
got?
Did they need a whole 14 months to do Born Hater?
Well,
Like, it was a good song, but
is that when Mino goes on Show Me the Money in 2015?
That
is
might
that
be
when
when he
season
goes
4
on
of Show Me the Money?
Show me. Yeah, Mino goes and Show Me the Money on season 4.
Is that in
but
2015?
is that 2015?
2015.
It might be.
I think, because the first season was 2012. So
Yeah, because Show Me the Money 3 is in 2014. We have that on the icon
Yeah.
stats.
Yeah, so
So,
that
yeah,
is
I
so
guess
yeah, that is the
2015
solo
would be.
activities they were doing, I guess.
They needed
Mino specific
epic high,
solo activities.
yeah,
yeah,
and it was him losing. I mean, getting very far. in
he
Show Me
made the
Money, but
top
ultimately
2.
losing.
He almost won.
but losing.
He almost beat out Basic, but
Again, second best on Show Me the Money.
he had
as an
better
idol
competition
rapper.
his
Good for
season.
him.
I'm just telling you that right now. Compared to
Again,
Bobby.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I could not care less about Show Me the Money.
I know you
Seriously.
don't, but like
The
in my
level of
opinion,
care
Minnow
I
had better
personally have
competition,
for Show Me the
so
Money.
it was
There
kind
was
of like,
definitely
Yeah,
the
that's
competition was
life.
definitely harder on Mino season, yeah.
and he was going against someone who had a better sob story at the end of the day. So
Fair enough.
That's
Fair
unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
But getting
So he doesn't,
done?
yeah, so Mino then solo debuts in 2018. I guess he kind of half solo debuts in Mob, because Bobby and Mino solo songs were a part of that, but like, officially by himself
pure
was in
solo
2018.
debut.
2020, Jinwoo is gonna solo debut. Also, at some point in time, I know that the members of Winner started to take on stage names. I don't care. I learned them by their full names. The stage names
Same
are dumb.
with
I don't
Icon.
like them.
The
So
same
I'm gonna
thing
call
with-
them by the real names.
The same thing happens to Icon. I learned Icon on Win and Mix and Match by their full God-given names.
Yes.
They're like, that is how I will continue to refer to them.
Like, I'm not gonna call Sanghoon Hoon. Like, I think that's just dumb. Like, a Sanghoon.
We're not calling anybody DK and
Yeah.
J. There's already enough of them.
We get it.
We ain't doing this. Not today.
So
today,
then later
YG, not
in
today.
2020, Jinwoo and Sanghoon enlisted in the military. And then in 2021, all of the members of Winner renew their contracts for 5 more years. And then in 2022, Jinwoo and Sanghoon both are discharged from the military, and then they get to have this nice little in-between military enlistments comeback
They
thing.
essentially
I was about to
timed
say,
it so that
isn't Minnow 29 now?
He's gotta go soon.
Minnow's gotta go.
He's gotta
now.
go now. Sangyoon also, like, has to go now.
Gotta go now.
So like, I'm curious. I haven't
Again,
heard about them
I-
going yet.
Again, I think it has to be like the end of the
It
by
has
the end
to
of
be
this
soon.
year.
They had to
beginning
time
of next
this
year,
like
they're
so
gonna go.
perfectly for the two of them to
Like,
come out
perfect.
before the other two have to go
And it's
in.
unfortunate that the comeback we got was "I Love You."
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not great.
It's so unfortunate. But looking at it, I always forget how old Jinwoo is in terms of Winner members
Jinwoo is
because
the
he
oldest.
looks the youngest. But he looks significantly younger than the rest of them.
He does.
he not?
Sangyoon also doesn't look like he's the youngest, and Sangyoon is also the leader of Winner, so that's
Fair enough.
confusing.
The thing with Winner, and this is the main problem with it, the main problem with the management of Winner is that they were trying to debut the losers of the show.
Yeah.
Before they cared about them.
Essentially before they could give a shit about the winners
And like,
of the show.
it's
Yeah.
so unfortunate for them because it's so obvious how much YG favored Icon over them, and so I think he was a little bit butthurt they won. So we put him on a 14-month hiatus while he debuted the
Well,
losers
here's
of
the
the
weird
show.
thing is, like, I
They
can't even
won.
say that they were butthurt because the same thing fucking happened to Icon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think YG wanted to prove he could do the same strategy that he did with his with your 21s and even with your Blackpinks, but it doesn't work with boy groups. Boy groups need consistent comebacks, especially especially with the landscape of. You have to remember that the last time that YG had debuted a boy group was 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the YG promotional strategy for boy groups is to like give them like a shit ton of music like right at
the
debut,
beginning.
and then you put them on hiatus for like a year and a half. And
They
you don't
lose
release
all of
anything
their-
immediately.
They essentially
afterwards.
lose all of their popularity, have to go through a
Immediately.
struggle period,
Yeah.
and then come back with again. If it wasn't for Really Really, I think that we would be looking at a very different type of winner because Really
Yeah.
Really became a massive
really
hit.
changed
And
the
you
entire
see
like
the
winner
same
as a
thing-
group entirely.
We'll
Yeah.
get to it in a second, but you see the same thing happen to Icon with Love Scenario, and again, I think if you don't get those fucking massive hits, I think by the time we're gonna get to Treasure, like they learn from it. but like looking at it, they have to come back with the biggest song of their fucking the biggest hit any group could ask for, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that essentially re-debuts them to the public.
Yep.
Essentially.
But overall, I think that post that, I think Winter has been in a pretty decent place.
Yeah, they've managed to still stay
them,
somewhat relevant.
They're relevant, they're popular. I think that they're giving a lot of them individual shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they have a lot of individual activities, members of Winter.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them.
Now they just need to get the last two onto the military service, so then they don't have to deal with that.
Get them in there now.
Yeah.
Specifically get Minnow in.
Get Minnow in there. He's like, why did he extend a year?
He's got a lot of shit
has
to
had
do.
a lot of
He's
shit
a
to
busy
do.
man.
I think he needs a break.
Oy.
But the other thing I think with YG is that you continue to see YG's promotion of one person in their group.
Yeah.
You get your G-Dragon, you get your CL, you get Minnow. We'll get to the next one, which is, I think, where they try to do two people. And
for a while they tried to do two.
And then situations out of their control happened.
And now they're down to one.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's begin with Icon, who we've had half their story already told.
Yeah.
But...
half of their story gets told in the Winter story.
Because they're so intertwined. They're so this is what happens when one company is essentially debuting two groups at the same time.
Well, yeah, they're essentially at the same time. Really not a lot of time in between.
So essentially in 2014, so they're going to debut in 2015, but before this, all the members are on Win with Winner, and they lose their Team B. They were the more favored team. In my opinion, they were better.
They're the more favored
But
team
also-
by the boss.
They were more favored team
Hence
by
why
the
he
boss,
didn't get rid
yes.
of them entirely.
Again, if Icon would have won, if Icon was Winner, essentially, we would have never
Winner
gotten
would
those
not
boys
exist
from,
today
Winner would not
if they
exist.
won
They
Winner.
would have been kicked out of YG.
Yeah.
It's probably
Not
why the
kicked out,
Koreans
but,
went
like-
for Winner more so. A little
Yeah.
bit more.
Fair enough, but again, so in 2014 they participated in Mix and Match, which was essentially their re-debut. They finalized their debut.
Pick up Chanwoo on the way.
Essentially, yeah, pick up Chanwoo. Everybody else was already on Win. They just picked up a member and then debuted. In 2014, Bobby and B.I. would also go on Show Me the Money 3, where Bobby ultimately wins the season. Also in 2014, Bobby and B.I. both feature on Born Hater, and so does Minnow, which we spoke about.
Mhm.
Born Hater is sort of a who's who of rappers. I love that song. That
Who's
might be my
who of
favorite
like
Epic High song.
rappers under YG?
YG
Slash, they also
rappers,
do.
yeah.
YG rappers.
I think Verbal Jit and Benzino are also on that
yeah,
song
it's
too
like
as well.
YG rappers and friends of
and
Epic High.
YG adjacent
Friends
rappers.
of Epic High and
Like
YG
Benzino's not a
rappers.
joke. He was a big time rapper back in the day.
Yeah.
Like it still is.
But also, fun fact, Soman from Card
in there
is
as
in
well.
that music video.
She just shows up.
Also, the other thing with Soman from Card looks the same since that music video.
He does.
Great. Yeah. Love that song.
Yeah,
That's
Verbal
my-
Gen
that
2
might
also
be-
bigger back
that's-
in the day as well, but
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Epic High song. That's
Me
also
too.
a very basic opinion, but
that's interesting that you do like Born Hater as much,
I
Sammy.
fucking love Born Hater.
I love
Born
that
Hater's-
song. It's like
a
just a
banger.
nice like diss song and I enjoy it.
It's a great. It's it's like the best diss.
It's a
song.
cool
It's
shot
great.
music video. I'll give it that too.
I mean, I
You
also
know?
thing
love
with
the
it is
music
just, like-
video. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, it's got like a it's got like a weirdly catchy chorus. I don't know. That to get off of Born Hater. In 2016, Bobby debuts in Mob. Then in 2017, Bobby will have a solo debut, which again I feel
Happened
like
3 years
overlooked
after
it.
Show Me the Money.
His solo debut was also
Again,
like
I feel like
really
I would-
bizarre. Like the
Yeah.
songs that he
A
like
choice.
the singles on that are like not what you would expect him to have as a solo debut at all.
No, not for again. I think his second album,
Much better.
much better and also far more in keeping with his style. I think
Because like one
this
of those
is what-
singles is like weirdly tropical house, and it's like
It
I don't know
is.
why that's
and again,
a Bobby
as the
solo
notorious
song.
tropical house lover, that song is better than it has any right to be, but also still not what I
It
want
doesn't
from
seem
Bobby.
like that's what Bobby's solo debut should be.
For me, the thing that bothers me the most is that from that season of Show Me the Money, he was supposed to get an album as well.
Oh,
I'm
did
like,
not.
that was supposed to happen really short from that. So like he did get his album, but like it was 3 years
Eventually.
later.
was way too late.
And
Yeah.
like the real album that should have come out of that, which is Lucky Man, didn't happen for another like
Yeah.
24
However many
like,
years, 6
6
years
years?
later?
7
years later?
Yeah.
A choice. And then also, so he debuts solo in 2017. In 2018, we get Love Scenario, which becomes like
That's
Korea's
the cultural
favorite
reset
song
of
of
Icon.
The children love that. Literally, the children.
I mean, honestly, the children love it. The adults love it. It's a fucking banger.
That
It
style of song was
that's-
very big in 2018.
Yeah.
That song is a fucking banger. It's still one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time. I love it. The other thing with it is I also think that song not winning, like, Song of the Year proves a lot of K-pop awards are fucking rigged.
Yeah.
But looking at it, otherwise, 2019, right off the big, to puns, the big high off of Love Scenario, Bobby would be forced to leave the group
Nope.
due to his drug
No,
B.I.
wrong one. Wrong one.
B.I.
You said Bobby.
What did I say?
You
said Bobby.
Oh, my apologies. There's a lot of B's happening here. I can't read anymore.
Wrong one. Wrong
B.I.
person.
Not Bobby.
That's a
Bobby is a
wrongfully
sweet, wholesome
accused
Christian
Bobby.
boy. I will never wrongfully accuse Bobby. I just can't read. So B.I. would leave the group due to his drug scandal. In 2021, Icon would go on Kingdom. Somehow fucking kill
They
it.
come in last place on
They
Kingdom.
come in last place, but in terms of quality, they fucking killed it.
Amazing.
Incredible. How the fuck did Icon fucking? I had doubts.
We have a lot
I
of
had
we have a
my
lot of
doubts.
coverage on that as well.
So much
Icon on
coverage. If
Kingdom.
you want a round by round coverage of that show, we have that.
Yes, we do.
And then in 2021, Icon would announce his marriage to
Bobby.
his wife. What am
I said Icon's
apparently
announcing his marriage.
You're confusing the bees, girl.
No, my
You're confusing
thing
the
is
bees.
I'm like speed reading these, so the lines are blurring together. Bobby announces his marriage to his wife, upcoming pregnancy, and his son is born in December. I'm getting the first word of the line above. which is
September, yeah.
happening. Yay. So he has a son.
He's a father.
Yay for Icon babies.
Yay, babies.
Babies. It's the first Icon baby.
Mhm.
Again, not
Sooner
making
than
it
we
as certain as the rest
expected,
of
but
them. Again, but like
Also, I don't think I expected it
Not-
from Bobby, but like,
I don't know. The only thing I want more Bobby's our fucking age. Bobby's our age. Yeah, fuck, he's got a baby. We're not that
I mean,
young.
we're
Yeah,
at like
that's weird
not,
to
it's
think
not
that
we're
he
not
has a
at-
baby.
We're not at unreasonable age to have a baby. Like,
That's what I'm saying. It's like we're not that young.
Yeah.
Like it is not unreasonable for one of us to have it for someone our age to have a child.
Yeah, it's not.
Also, Bobby seems like a wholesome Christian boy
Yeah.
mhm.
in a way.
I'm happy for him.
I'm very happy for him. I love we have done between the years of 2021, we have done a massive turnaround on Bobby. And we
Yes.
adore him.
Love him.
Mhm.
He's great.
Adore him. He's a wonderful man who deserves nothing but good things.
Yes.
And honestly, so does Icon. I've had a Icon went through their ups, their downs. Oh god, their downs sometimes. The only thing I really want from Icon is I think they need to do solo music.
Yeah.
I think June
More
needs
of them, I
solo
think,
I
need
don't
to
know
do solo
why.
music.
I don't know why
Yesterday.
June hasn't done any.
He's so good. He is one of the most he's honestly generally one of my favorite vocalists. That is so underrated.
Mhm.
No one talks about the fact that, again, Icon, a group that has better vocalists than a YG group deserves. So what do we think about the management of Icon?
It's not any better or worse
Than the management
than
of
the
Winner?
management of any other groups at YG.
Fair enough. I think it's got its ups, its downs.
Yeah, it's like
Again-
there's like it's pretty typical YG promotion. Like there's
Fair.
nothing really to say other than that.
They also had their massive
massive scandal we had to deal with.
not their massive scandal, but they also had their massive hiatus between 2015 and
Oh yes, they did also have a massive hiatus
2017.
right after debut.
exactly they did their debut and then did nothing for the year of 2016.
Yep.
Except I think a digital single. I think they did a digital single in 2016 and that was the extent of Icon.
Mhm.
It's so unfortunate. And then they figured out that that's not a strategy that works with boy groups.
Yeah, they figured it out a while Took them a while.
It took them too.
It's like,
I
only
mean, I
worked for
will
Big
say-
Bang, okay.
But even with Big Bang, it didn't happen because they waited till the group was massive for them to have
Yeah.
a long hiatus. Like, they didn't do it right after La 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 and then wait 3 years to release their next song.
Mm-hmm.
They, like, did a lot of stuff until they became big and then did a hiatus. Again, I think this is YG flying a little too close to the sun.
Yeah.
They're like, we can just do whatever we want. And I'm like, nope, that does not work with boy groups. Fix yourself. I don't know. I like iKON. iKON becomes a weird highlight in the YG arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we get to the one that I feel like we don't have enough to say about for the group? that they are?
Surprisingly.
Right.
I feel like, but also, that seems correct because they haven't done anything.
Yep.
Well,
Maria?
in theory. Like, they have, but they haven't done anything questionable.
And also, they haven't done that much, period.
Yeah, the only. YG's last remaining moneymaker at this point, by far, Blackpink. Debuted in 2016, and they had pre-debut of the members featured on various songs and other music videos for their YG artists. I watch a lot of the I watched the Blackpink documentary on Netflix. Kind of eye-opening, but definitely a sanitized version of probably what happened.
Again, looking at the fact that it's essentially a baby Jenny in that XX
Mhm.
Yeah.
by G-Dragon, she's too young to be in that video.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's too young. In that video,
She also featured in a
specifically,
Sungri song too, which she probably likes to forget.
She did.
Also,
I would like to. Again, I choose to
Big
forget
yike.
that.
regrets.
Big yike. But like specifically, like I did not realize that it was someone that young in that video.
Yeah. And they debuted in 2016 to very big success. It was with a very small song release strategy that seemed to work,
Again,
just
it
like
is-
21.
Again, it is the 21 model, but pushed to the extreme.
Basically.
Because I feel like 21, for as little music as they had, still had like at least something going on.
Mm-hmm.
Blackpink is like that push to an extreme of like, nope, nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Grace basically they got more successful, had a world tour, became, models, basically.
Essentially.
Pays the bills, I guess. And then in 2018, Jenny had her solo debut with take a wild guess what the title is called. Solo. So original. And then
So
we had Rose
also,
and Lisa debuting in 2020 with Rose's interpretation of Taylor Swift, and Lisa basically having a
Lisa's
brand cultivated
interpretation
about
of
being her.
Being herself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which,
Lisa's-
Lisa's
good for
entire
you.
brand is that she is Lisa. Like, that is
Right.
the Lisa brand.
I mean, in her latest
also, I
music
would like to
video,
point out-
Shutdown, she's wearing clothes that have her name on
That
it.
say her own name.
that
so-
has been
That's
I
in her
don't that
own
has
name.
been her brand for so long, and it's such a
That's been
confusing
her
decision.
brand. That has almost been her brand since the debut of Blackpink.
It's like,
It's
guys,
such
this
a
is Lisa.
confusing
She's
decision.
Thai. We never had a Thai person before.
She's not even the first Thai idol.
Well, for
She's not
YG
even
she
the
is,
first
but
Thai-
not overall.
She's not even the first Thai idol from her own friend group.
She's probably the first
This is
one,
true.
though,
Bam
that's
Bam debuted
Thai who's a
before her.
female who became successful that I can think of.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess there's that, but you'll see, too, with the pattern for Blackpink, it's, people have caught on to, is that's basically the same songs now and basically the same promotional strategy for them.
We release like
Over
one.
and over
We
and
get
over
one
again.
comeback a year for Lucky. At
Well,
this
they did
point.
have two. They came back after 2 years this time.
Yeah, they had.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like we're pushing
I mean,
it. we're pushing
partially
it
I
to
would
2
blame that
years
on
now.
COVID, though, but,
Not really, because
Kind
a
of.
lot of people had to come back during COVID.
Kind of, but I wouldn't be surprised
So
if
many
YG wanted to
people
time
did.
it with a world tour, and they're like, we can't do the world tour yet. We're going to push it out. I could see that happening.
Oh yeah, definitely. The world, like Definitely. We're just every comeback has to deal with the world tour. Like YG couldn't just do a comeback with like at least a digital single. Absolutely nothing we could have done.
Jeez.
Such a disappointment. Can you tell I'm very happy? Again,
So exciting.
it's almost a fucking joke.
It
But
is.
the problem is nothing will change.
But people definitely has
People-
kept caught on to it now.
people
Like, it's
have
pretty
caught-
people are
caught
much
on
more
s-
vocal about it now.
Yeah, but nothing will change.
No.
That album sold insanely well. Nothing will change.
No. And also, like,
Because
the
people
albums
don't
only
put
have, like, 8 songs each, so...
Again, people will never put their money where their mouth is. It does not matter.
Yeah. I mean, either way, the girls are getting things to do. I mean, Jenny shows up in an HBO TV series produced by The
Sure.
Weeknd, so whatever. I mean, that's pretty
Again,
good.
they're getting things to do, but here's the thing. They're up for contract renewal
They are.
next year.
Guess
Again,
we're
they're up
gonna
for
have to
contract renewal
see.
next year, and there are rumors that YG's debuting a girl group next year.
Yeah.
Let's just say, I've seen this film before.
Be very curious to see how this plays out.
I mean, I think we've seen how it played out.
Well, I'm
once.
curious
We'll
if
see
it'll be a little
plays
bit
out the
different.
same way again.
Because I feel like this group is more the favored girl group from the previous one, so...
But let's be honest with you. I think they're gonna be up for contract renewals. Contract renewals is gonna give them a far more favorable hand. And will YG in their infinite sexism want to give them that?
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out, I guess. Stay tuned.
We'll see.
But
Stay
in
tuned
terms
for
of
next
being
year.
promoted, though...
God. What can you even say about the Blackpink promotion?
They really perfected
Where
the
is
formula
it?
of doing the bare minimum and making the maximum profit with them. I mean,
Again,
they perfected it.
I can complain about it for hours, but financially?
Oh yeah, it worked out for them. Still is working out
What
for
can
them.
I say? It worked. It just worked out the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We've seen how it worked out.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna keep working out because people love to complain. But that's not gonna stop them from buying 3 versions at Target tomorrow.
True.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Like, they're going to keep buying it.
They are.
Nothing will change unless
Nothing
it
will
stops
It's
change.
like, you know, it's the definition of
Nothing will
insanity.
change.
It is.
It is.
Expect doing the
And
same
the weird
thing every
thing is
time
that-
and expecting the same fucking result.
No, expecting
It's
different
insanity.
results.
Different result, yeah. And the problem is, people are gonna keep complaining about, like, again, I think I have the right to complain. I don't buy Blackpink albums.
No.
But I swear to God, if you're buying Blackpink albums, like, what do you expect? You have given them no incentive to change.
Yeah. But anyways, I mean, good for the company, business profit-wise.
The company's making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
And honestly, weirdly, you almost can't blame them.
Nope.
You can't blame them, especially considering the fact that they're just making money off, essentially making the same song every time.
Mhm.
You can't tell me fundamentally Shut Down is any different than Pink Venom is any that much different than How You Like That, which is that much different than I'm trying to remember what the Blackpink comeback was before that, and they're just all blurring
It's
together.
like Kill This Love, I think.
It's Kill This Love, and then it was Do.
Yep.
And then before,
Well, they also had
yeah.
their first album.
Yeah, but even then, I'd give him a little more credit. That's maybe when Teddy hadn't been fully replaced by the AI.
Oh.
Maybe he like revised the song a little bit.
N-
Now, truly,
No, Kill This Love wasn't that. It was their first
I'm talking
album.
their
It was
debut.
How Do You Like
Their-
That?
I'm talking
and
their-
Ice
Well,
Cream.
no,
Yeah, I'm
Lots
ta-
for
no, I'm
Love Sick
talking
Girls
their
and How You Like That was
debut
the
era.
album, but like,
I'm talking their
Yeah.
debut era.
Oh,
is
debut
when
era, yeah.
Teddy, yeah, I'm talking like debut era is when like Teddy might have revised some shit, and then he's just fully AI Teddy.
Nope.
Where like all these songs, if you told me that you put all of
They're
Teddy's
all
songs
like
into
different
an
versions of
AI
the same fucking song.
Again, if you told
also
me
you
that
could have
put-
told me they recorded like any of these songs like the same year they debuted, and
Yeah.
now are just releasing
I
them
believe
a
you.
couple years later.
Would believe
also
you.
would believe that.
Again, if you told me that you put every single Teddy song into one of those AI generators that like make paintings and some shit, and they like essentially gave you Shut Down and Pink Venom, I'd be like, "Yep, that sounds correct.
Yeah.
That sounds correct." Especially with how kind of boring both of those songs are.
Mm-hmm. So fun.
So fun.
All right,
Shall we-
2016. We have a little side project. I don't know. It's like a
Side
very weird situation.
Again, another stepping stone.
Yeah. It's not even really that. So in 2016, Such Keys are gonna come out of retirement, I guess, from the K-pop
Sure.
industry. 16 years after their official disbandment. And all of the members, except for Ko Ji-young, who is just like a businessman and living a regular life at this point in
Yeah,
time.
who just is like, absolutely not.
They, the rest of the members are all going to sign with YG Entertainment for group activities after they reunited on a special edition of the variety show Infinite Challenge. So, Jaejin and Sunghoon also sign individual contracts with YG as well, so that like all of their promotions are now under YG. And it's important to note that the reason why this likely happened is because Lee Jae-jin is the brother of Lee Eun-ju, who is YG's wife.
AKA the
You
one he was
again,
going after
to
in
go
Sweet
back.
Tea.
Yep.
Yeah, to go back to that rant.
Yep. To bring that back in,
Bring that
into
back full
focus in
circle.
2016 YG.
Wouldn't be surprised if his
Yeah.
wife had a few things to say to her husband to get her brothers in her
Again,
group
who
in
the
there.
fuck knows about the manipulation this woman is under from her boss husband?
Mm-hmm. So the only other thing that really happens here is in 2018, Kang Sung-hoon will leave Sech Keys and YG Entertainment following multiple scandals. And I have these listed up because these are not scandals we have talked about before.
Yeah, these are actually scandals we actually have to mention and don't just get to
Yep.
refer back to
So the
different
main one of
videos.
these scandals involves a fan meeting in Taiwan organized by his fan club that is apparently run by his sister. And then the fan meeting was canceled and not properly refunded. So there is
So
accusations
essentially,
of like
scams.
embezzlement from the fan club that is like run by a person who is like directly connected to him.
Wonderful.
He also allegedly sold gifts that his fans would give him. And openly
Oh,
trash
wonderful.
talked both about specific idols and just recent K-pop idols as a whole.
Mind you, this is a grown ass man.
Grown
Yeah,
man,
the big thing though is like the
grown-ass
embezzlement
man.
from the fans. That was
Like
more of an issue.
like again, as we go on.
I mean, these all happened at the same time, so like they were all
Yeah.
just like
As
adding
we
on to
go
the pile.
on,
And I
Again,
think
as
he's
we
had
go on-
issues too with gambling in the past, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
He had some other legal issues going on too as well.
It's fun trash talk from this man is that he said Rain has bad breath, which I thought was just funny.
A
And then
choice.
he called Kim Tae-woo of God obnoxious for who knows why. But those are things he said publicly. And then
Again, why
there's
are you
another
like,
aspect of it where the fans are apparently mad about his common law marriage to his wife, but I could not figure out why.
again, a lot of this just seems like dog piling on top of each other.
Yep.
Like you start with embezzlement and they're like, but also he's an
But
asshole.
here's all of these
also
other
he's a
things
dick.
that he's done as well, just to make him seem like even worse.
Yeah,
So yeah.
essentially just make him seem like the devil.
Sech Keys, the rest of them, still in YG Entertainment. They don't do a lot, but like, I mean, they're
With
all
his lovely
old and-
brother-in-law.
But they're like all old now, so I don't think they really want to do like really
Nah.
active stuff. But they have like a song every couple years or so, and that's like still fun for them. And I guess all of their
Yeah,
fans
good
from
for them, I
16
guess.
years ago and everything. So
I think the only standout
Sure.
thing is that Eun-ji one beforehand actually tried to have a rap career somewhat.
yeah,
so.
he's
A
an
choice.
interesting person. Yoon
He's
Ji-won.
a person that we have to deal
I
with.
see him a lot
every
on
once in a
variety
while.
shows, and he's like really not a smart man.
No. And also really kind of just not funny.
He's not that funny. He's
He really
he's on the
isn't.
Genius season 2, which is what I think of the most when I see him, and he is just really
Yeah.
not smart enough to be on that show.
No. But also not funny enough to be on that show either.
No.
Like, he's not dumb enough in the funny way to be on that show
No,
either.
because like Hongchul, like no Hongchul is on that season, and he's a little bit smarter than G1, but is also better at being funny.
Exactly.
But anyway,
There is a very specific
stop
balance you
dogpiling
need
on
on the
G1.
Mhm.
Again, this has nothing to do with this.
Yeah. They're there still. I guess they're doing stuff. I mean, this is not really like a main part of YG Entertainment at all. It's just like a fun side project he's doing for his brother-in-law, essentially. So
I guess.
So, like, might as well
yeah.
at this point.
Sure. They need.
They
again,
had a
need some sort of
resurgence from the
representation.
from the Infinity Challenge special, so might as well milk it for
Yeah.
what you can at this point.
Again, they needed representation in some way, and I guess brother-in-law is maybe not the worst option. Even though it did come from a creepy ass marriage.
Yeah.
It did.
Again, we'll never not take the opportunity to dogpile on how fucking weird that marriage is.
Ugh.
Alright, so now we go on to a topic we've discussed
Extensively.
So often
Yeah.
do we discuss this
So
topic. It's
often
almost
has this show
Too much,
brought
almost,
up.
one could say. But
in a weird way, is it almost just the longest running joke of this podcast?
It is one of
which
them.
is
It just
how
won't
much
go.
we
It
talk
just
about
won't go
Mix 9.
away.
I've never seen like length. I've only seen like some performances of the show, and I feel like I know so much about it.
Mhm.
I've detailed everything there is to know.
I
about
still
this
hate
show.
him for shitting on Hustle, but that's besides the point.
I still hate him for his weirdly homophobic jabs at hot pants with Ace.
Yep.
What
Yeah,
the fuck,
he does
YG?
a lot of bad things on that show. So
He does so much shit
yeah.
on that show.
We'll see.
So in 2017, we get the lovely show Mix 9, a YG-funded survival show where YG, the man, traveled Southern Entertainment Agency, recruited a bunch of trainees and lesser-known idols to participate in a show from groups such as pre-debut Luna, Ace, and many, like, name a K-pop group.
K&K, ONF.
K&K, ONF.
Pre-debut One Us was there.
So many
Like,
people
so,
were on this
so
fucking
many
show.
people were there.
Anybody that didn't go on the unit went on Mix 9, essentially.
Basically.
Every
the
Nugu group was on one of those shows at the time.
And they were both on at the same
Airing
fucking time.
simultaneously.
So the show had both boys and girls who competed to be in the top line of their respective genders for a chance to debut in a group by the end. And only the gender who had the most overall votes would get to debut in the end. YG wanted to extend the length of the winning group's promotion and training period due to a lack of success of the show, because the show fucking bombed. No
Neither
one
the
watched
Unit
that
nor
show.
Mix 9 performed well at all. Both of them
Because
did
I'm
pretty bad.
sorry, when you want to make a show based on one storyline that was on Produced 101, that doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
When your one storyline is just the newest storyline from Produce 101 season 2.
Yep.
But he couldn't come to an agreement with the other companies, so in 2018, YG announced that the winning boy group who won was canceled. Because, yeah, that seems sensible. Canceled waste everyone's time, essentially.
Yeah, essentially.
And then later that year, Happy Face Entertainment, the company Woo Jin Young, who came in first place on the show, sued YG Entertainment only for about $9,000, which is like a drop in the bucket,
Yep.
and really was just for the fucking waste of time that they had over the fall through of the group's debut. Nothing really came of it.
YG
while I
convinced Happy Face to drop the charges is what happened to that.
Essentially.
So, and it's
And the
like,
thing with it-
my God, give them their $9,000. Is that really too much to ask for? And they
You
wasted
find-
so much of everyone's time.
Everyone's
They wasted
time.
everyone's
Happy Face
time.
could
They
have got
wasted
together
money. They
with the
didn't
company
debut a
of
boy group. Like,
Happy Face could have gotten together with every other company who had a kid in that debut group and
Debut
could have
lineup.
mass sued YG instead.
They
Mhm.
should have. They
That's
fucking
what they should
should've.
have done, yeah.
That's what they should have done. They sued for fucking $9,000, and who knows if YG just didn't give them some shit under the table so it wouldn't become a thing.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that, like, looking at both Mix 9 and The Unit, while I do think The Unit is infinitely a worse show and a sadder show, Mix 9 actually was a pretty, at least from the performances I have seen,
The
It's a
annoying
better
thing
show.
is that Mix 9 was a pretty good show, apart from, I mean, YG the man
YG
being an
the man.
absolute ass and making an ass of himself and being creepy all the time, but like,
he's a fucking creep.
it
He
was
should
a
not be
much
allowed around
better, it was
children.
much better formatted than The Unit was by like a long shot. So it
Oh,
was
absolutely.
a very
It was actually a
show.
good show.
Yeah.
And had a lot of good performances. Again, I still think that Love on the Ice performance
Love
from
that.
Mix
So
9
good.
oh, so good.
might be, honestly, it might be better than the TVXQ version.
Yeah.
Sacrilege.
It's really good.
Sacrilege.
It's so
Romance.
But
good.
it's
Romance.
It's
like
so
it's
good,
fucking
though.
incredible. It's incredible. Like, and Love on the Ice is a fucking incredible song when TVXQ does it. These kids knock it out of the park. But yeah, no, it's a good show, ruined by YG the man and everything else that happened on
Yep.
this show.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a hot mess, basically. Just
Hot mess.
waste everyone's
Everything about
fucking
it.
time.
Big disaster for everybody
Yep.
involved.
I was like happy
Speaking
for
of-
Happy Face, just trying to stick it back to him for a little bit.
I know.
Honestly, I still think that should have been more of like. I'm sorry, you cannot waste people's time.
So
like
there's
this.
also a
It
conspiracy
seems-
theory that YG is blacklisting Happy Face
that
because
also seems correct.
because it took Dreamcatcher so long to get like a win on a music show because the show and show champion kept suspiciously changing their rules for winning right around when Dreamcatcher would have a comeback, which is like
Oh,
maybe
God.
something's involved with that.
I wouldn't be surprised at this
yeah.
point.
I wouldn't be surprised if YG was petty for a couple of years
Mhm.
post that, and now their fucking star has fallen so far they can't even
Yep.
keep
that
up their
anymore.
their minor blacklisting of Happy Face Entertainment.
Yep. All right, Maria, do you want to do our next person?
See the next couple then. Let's see. There is 2017 rapper One joined YG.
Oh, one.
But before then, began his career with One Punch with a young Samuel. That didn't last that long though. So
As it shouldn't have. It should have
2015,
happened.
he signed an exclusive contract with YG after he appeared on Show Me the Money 4. And then he also participated in Show Me the Money 5. He ended up making a solo debut in 2017. Also, that same year, he also begins to start acting. And then in 2019, he leaves YG. He doesn't release
Very
too
short
much
career
music.
at YG Entertainment.
Basically,
Very
it seems like he
short.
focuses on just doing
He definitely
acting,
transitions
seems
more
like.
so into acting.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's a decent actor.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love A Korean Odyssey as a show, but he was actually kind of funny in it. I found him charming. I find him to be a charming actor.
That's cute.
He's very sweet. Again, I think One Punch nothing to do with YG, but One Punch was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
One was
Should
like
not
an
have happened.
adult, and Samuel was
was like 14 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not even like when we're talking child, I mean
Child.
Child.
And one was like
A
adult,
teenager, like a late teens teenager.
a
yeah.
late teen to adult. It was questionable.
Mm-hmm.
But that has nothing to do with YG. I think YG is, again, just a stepping stone for this kid. I think
Yeah.
that probably when he began, he was still in the rapper phase, realized he was probably better off being an actor, and was like, well, YG's not going to help me here.
Yep. So just like
And
bye.
bounced.
All right. So we're gonna take a quick scandal. A scandal.
Scandal roundup.
Scandal roundup. So 2019 is when Burning Sun happens. We have a whole episode on tier 2 of the Scandal Iceberg is all on Burning Sun.
Literally,
So
we
just
devoted
go
2.5
all time
hours.
to
Just
that.
go listen to that. The
It's
TLDR,
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours of it. TLDR of it. Sangri of Big Bang and YG the Man get caught up in really shady shit involving Sangri's nightclub and also overseas gambling. So Sangri leaves
Of
Big
course.
Bang, YG Entertainment, and enlists in the military pretty simultaneously. YG the Man and his brother then step down from all leadership positions at YG Entertainment. That's
But
essentially the biggest fallout.
Still
of
has
that.
stock. Still has significant
Again, yeah,
stock.
still making money.
Also,
still fucking
Let's
making
take
all
a
the money.
moment. Let's look at all the scandals and other events that happened in YG Entertainment over the course of 2017 to 2019.
Might as well.
Because what happens, the fallout of Mix 9 in 2017 led to JYP passing YG as the second most valuable entertainment company. So that
Wild.
show alone just like completely plummeted YG Entertainment. Also, in that period of time, Lehigh, Epic High, One, Psy, CL all leave YG Entertainment.
Wild.
The BI drug scandal happens in 2019, and then Burning Sun
And then
also
BI
happens in
would leave.
2019. So it's like you got
And Sungri
3
also
years
leaves.
of just only large scale scandals
Yeah,
and a
just
bunch
chaos.
of their most notable artists leaving their company.
Again, the only saving grace within this period of 2017 to 2019 is essentially that they debut is like that some of their groups are like Blackpink still has their continued success for whenever they like
And it's
allow
like
them
when
to
Winner and
escape the
Icon have their
dungeon.
like cultural resets as a group, essentially. But like
Pretty much.
but that's about
that's like there are so many scandals happening in the background that it's like that's not enough to save YG Entertainment.
it. Absolutely not. The fact that Love Scenario, the cultural reset that it is happening essentially right before the downfall of fucking Burning Sun.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wild.
Yep.
This company went from essentially I don't ever think that again, in terms of the big 3, for the majority of the time, there was an established hierarchy of the big three. I think it was always SM as number one because it's fucking SM. They've just have too many big artists to compete with. It was always YG second, and it was always JYP was third. This period of time upended that completely.
Yeah.
Fucking
YG
looked
so
like it
much,
was
so
about
fast.
to. YG, recently they've sort of turned it around, they've come back, but YG looked like they were going to implode. It looked like that company was going to fall into pieces during that time.
Oh yeah, it was a bad period of time for them. Like, really bad.
It was just a bad time all around. They've come back. I think they needed a little bit of time to restructure. But overall, a lesser company that was not a big three company, given all these scandals, would have just fucking folded. They would have shut their doors and gone home.
Folded.
They would have gone. They would have had to fold. I mean, to this day, I think it's a stain on their reputation. I still think that of the now big four, if you want to count them as, most people count them as a big four, I would count them as fourth.
Yeah.
Still fourth,
They're
unfortunately.
definitely still fourth.
While they still have the biggest girl group, I think overall, between everything else and the blemishes on their reputation.
The thing is that I think there is also a pretty significant gap between both YG and JYP to SM Entertainment. Like, I think
absolutely.
SM is pretty significantly above both of those at this point.
Oh, absolutely. And weirdly, I think the only thing, like, SM, a lot of it through legacy and through everything else, and I think just through the amount of power that company has. Weirdly, I think that all of, like, when we do our SM video, we're going to go through a very similar period of, like, scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal occurring with SM.
Yeah.
None of them to the level of Burning Sun, obviously, because that's just a wild time.
So much.
But, like, SM is essentially able to come out of it unscathed, mainly just because I think SM is so almost too big to fail at this point.
And, like,
definitely, and they're just one of the older
happened
companies too in general.
Also, like, none of the SM scandals involve people going to prison early.
Again,
true.
like I said, nothing to the point of Burning Sun.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of SM scandals around that period too that are just, like, pretty bad too.
All right. I'm moving on
now
to
we're at the last
2020.
The last boys.
The debut
The
of
last
Treasure, but first off, though, a survival show. YG ran that survival show in 2018 to 2019 to debut, originally, a 7-member boy group named Treasure. It just so happens, too, that 2 of these members of Treasure, or who were part of the show, were also participants on Mix 9, Hyunsuk and Junkyo. And then Yedam. Remember him? Ban Yedam? He had been in this company for pretty much almost all of his childhood at this point.
His life.
Yeah.
His life.
Pretty much.
Most of his years of consciousness. Most of his years of memories.
Years he spent at
his
YG
formative years. We're in this
Pretty
company.
much, yeah.
This man has lost his life here.
Basically, this original 7-member lineup was confirmed to debut under the name Treasure, and then days later, YG decides to announce the lineup of a second group of 6 trainees that will promote under the name Magnum and focus in Japan. And these two groups were meant to promote separately.
That YG didn't debut a group named Magnum. Like, that was a mistake.
Absolutely. And also, can we talk about how this worked so well?
Because I'm sorry, when I hear the name Magnum, I don't think of anything
think of K-pop.
Wholesome or PG. We'll put it that way.
Also, it worked so well when they tried to debut 2 boy groups at the same time. Last time it happened, totally unplanned.
Worked flawlessly
so well for both
time.
of them, flawlessly.
Yeah. So the idea of this was actually supposed to be an EXO kind of concept, where both of these groups were meant to promote separately and then simultaneously come together under the name Treasure 13. However, as you noticed,
EXO M and K worked so well.
Yeah,
yes.
EXO's concept that
so
also
well.
Worked so
clearly
well.
YG was like, I want that.
Incredibly.
And then, of course, all these
so
scandals and
fucking
shit
well.
happens at YG. Their debut gets delayed. And then ultimately, remember, Yubin left YG before Treasure's official debut, and then essentially they decided, fuck the two teams. We're gonna have them be one group and have it called Treasure. Okay, then. And then as of May 22 through at least the end of this year, Yeram and Mashiro are on hiatus from Treasure due to a combination of studying music and health concerns, respectively. And then the only other thing to mention too, which I'll just mention because it's brief, in 2022, on July 1st, Yan Minsuk, who is the brother of YG Entertainment founder, YG the man himself, returned to the agency after 3 years as a co-CEO, and that's really the only other notable information at this point. Treasure, I feel like they're promoting them like a normal boy group more so. They definitely have more of a pop sound compared, I think, to the rest of YG.
Treasure is just a normal boy group.
Yeah. Treasure did the similar thing to Icon where they got like 4 songs pretty close to debut, and then they went on like almost a year to slightly over a year long hiatus. Or not really hiatus, but they just didn't release music
didn't do anything
for a long time. Because I don't know why that's a thing YG likes to do, but it is.
But I think weirdly, I think with Treasure, he has sort of realized that that's bad idea.
Yeah.
So I think he's sort of been trying to correct that with Treasure.
Treasure is definitely the most, like, I guess I would say generic of the YG boy groups, because they do tend to be way more, like, poppy than than most of their other stuff. And it's like, that's also one of the only groups where they don't really have anyone who is like none of the members who are in charge of like musical direction. I think Bangy Dam was originally intended to be that person, but he has now been on hiatus to study music, so maybe they're intending for him to take up that in the future, but I don't really know what the plans are there. There's also so many members of him that it's like, I feel like it's hard, unless you're doing like a 17 concept, to sort of coordinate, to have one person try to coordinate the musical direction.
Also, one of the few groups that I know that has had a B-side become super successful.
Oh yes, our favorite B-side that is like blown up on TikTok and then got a punk rock remix that is also very good. Love that song.
Honestly, very surprising, but you know what? Take it at this point.
Yeah, it's like all we can really ask for them. They have improved, I think. So I really like their debut a lot, and then they kind of went downhill for a little bit when they released, like, from right after debut to when they released, like, that weird Christmas song. But recently, as of this year, I really like them. They're like B-side that blew up I really liked, and then I didn't think Jikjin was horrible. So I think they're going in a definitely different direction for YG boy groups.
Again, I think that they're at the very least going in
I'm just kind of interested to see where that's gonna go. So
I like that they're also going in a slightly different direction to what boy groups. They're not doing pure noise music.
They're not. No.
That's a good trajectory.
It does sound it's like you can tell there's a YG influence there, but it's not like your typical. It's not like your popular noise music, and it also isn't typical YG noise music. It's like a weird hybrid of both.
Yeah, and considering how Da-Da-Dee got popular, I'm pretty sure they're gonna probably clue in and maybe take note of that kind of sound.
They go like a love scenario-esque route or something similar.
Yeah.
My thing with it is I also want them, because they did that Da-Da-Dee remix, which I love, and I want them to do songs more in that vein, because again, I think that they realize that works for them, and that might be something that people want to listen to.
Oh yeah.
From them. So,
but yeah, I don't know. I don't think the group's being that badly managed, but it's definitely a slower start to success for them, I think, compared to their peers.
The Yeadam Shiho thing is weird. I don't really know what's going on with that.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know the background of that too much to understand why that's happening. But
as long as they don't ever do a song like again, which is again a bane of my
not appropriate for them.
Not appropriate. Please stop. Again, I hate that song.
I do not enjoy it. Also, I don't want them making Christmas music again. We need to not do that either.
Don't make Christmas music again.
You know, they might do a Da-Da-Dee Christmas remix.
Christmas remix.
I could see
Don't
it.
say that.
I could see
You
it.
know, it's
Or,
not.
you know,
It's not that crazy
could
that I
not.
can't say that it won't.
I'm
happen.
just saying, it would be if
Definitely.
they were gonna do it for any song, that'd be the song for it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we could just not do a Christmas remix.
could
No,
also
but
just-
this is also
Yeah,
YG we're
YG
talking about
Entertainment.
here, you know?
Yeah, this is YG Entertainment. Fuck
Yeah.
Christmas.
But that has been
No, but-
YG Entertainment.
YG Entertainment's new motto. Fuck Christmas.
Fuck Christmas. We gotta
Again.
score them out of 10.
All right.
So this is interesting.
Let's update the people.
I don't know what to
is
do.
What is the ranking currently?
What is the ranking?
Yeah. Because
What is
they're
the ranking?
interesting, because it's like, you talked to me
think
a
the
couple
only
years
way to
ago,
rank
I'd be like,
this-
fuck YG,
Oh
they
no,
fucking suck.
if you talked to me
They're
last
shit.
year, if you talked to me last year, I would be like 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
This year, I don't know. Okay, I have the ranking.
But I also
here.
think we
So
gotta
from-
judge them as a whole.
So from top to
'Cause that's for the
bottom,
best.
we got.
I think we
Japan
decide, are they above or below JYP?
Okay, so let me update the people. So for currently, we rank everybody out of 10, and we do have the option for 0.5s, and that's about as far as we go. So at number 1, we have Yeho Entertainment with about 15 asterisks because
Because
You know,
China, and we
15
don't know what
asterisks.
goes on in China.
We
who
don't.
knows what goes on.
I
in
wouldn't be
China,
surprised
so
there's a
we're
lot of shady
9.5.
shit there that we don't
Yep.
know about.
FNC with a 9, RBW with an 8, Willem with an 8, Starship with an 8, Fantagio with a 7.5, JYP with a 6.5, Jellyfish with a 4.5, and Cube with a 3.5. Alright, here's the
I
thing.
feel like we can't really give it above JYP.
I think they're
because of
worse
the
than
Burning
I think they're
Sun.
worse than JYP for sure.
We
I think
can't
overall
because Burning
they're
Sun
worse than
alone.
JYP. Yeah, but here's the thing with Burning Sun. Burning Sun, for as much as it is a scandal with the company, YG the company was not involved in Burning Sun.
That we are
Sungri the
aware
man
of.
And YG the man. No, I don't think the company was company as a collective was aware of Burning Sun. I think
No,
YG
but I
the
think like
man
I don't know,
YG
like a
the
lot of
man
stuff from top down
and
shook up
Sungri the man.
entirely.
Yes, but I also think that I don't know if we can put so YG committed Burning Sun.
So here's the other thing with that. YG has had significantly more scandals than JYP.
Yeah.
Also, it seems
Abso-fucking-lutely.
to be like YG has a harder time recovering from scandals as well. Because
Yeah.
I think it's because
I
they have such a history of multiple scandals
all the time.
that I think everything just drags them down even more. So I think because of that, they have a really hard time recovering from scandals now
Here's
too.
the thing,
I don't
But
think we
here's
can
the
put
thing,
them
so
above
many-
I
JYP
think in
at
terms-
this point. I don't
Yeah.
think
Fair,
so.
but I don't think that we can put them below Jellyfish.
No.
Because I think Jellyfish just
Jellyfish
At the
has
very
literally
least-
has managed one group successfully.
successfully. But here's the other thing: it was successful for the amount of time their contract lasted. And
Yeah,
why?
because they couldn't even get them past contract renewal. So like,
YG
They
at
could
the
not.
very least is able to, for as much as they fucked it and they fucked it, they still have groups, they still have artists, and they're still making money.
Yeah.
want to give
I
YG
think
like
we
a
give
solid
them-
5.
I think a 5
want
is fair.
5.5. Because I think that they're turning it around.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's fair to give them a 5.5 now, just only 2
Again, this is
years
currently.
later.
I think this is currently. I think currently they're at a 5.5.
But yeah, but
They can
about
go
2
up or
years
down
after
from
the
now.
scandal, though, is it fair to say that they fully
I
turned it
think
around?
they've turned because I think they've turned it around.
Well, I don't know if
Because
it's
they've
enough
gotten
time.
rid of all the problem. I think why? Because they've managed to essentially successfully recover all the groups that they all. Again, they only lost Big Bang. They didn't really lose Big Bang. Big Bang still was
Big
able
Bang
to
was
come
gonna
back with a
was
massively
gonna
successful
fizzle
comeback
out
post
anyway,
that.
regardless of Burning
It was
Sun.
Probably.
going to fizzle out anyway, but also managed to give them one goodbye song. They recovered Winner and Icon. They're still together. Blackpink is the biggest girl group currently, and Treasure is pretty actually decently successful for a 4th gen boy group. I think for what they have, they've recovered extremely well from being on the brink of being destroyed.
I think once YG the man was kicked out of YG Entertainment, it
Fair.
really helped.
Well, not
them.
entirely, but at
Yeah.
least as the public face. he
Well,
was
I
kicked
mean,
out.
when you have
There
such a
is
creepy
no
man
way.
as the face of your company, I feel like getting rid of him and
And
like have
also
him
the
not
fact
being,
that,
in,
like-
being in the public making an ass of himself
Yeah.
all the time is like helpful.
And also with the fact of there is no way to get rid of him. He owns the stock. You can't.
He can't fully get
Like,
rid of him.
You cannot, like, there are ways you can get rid of him, but the amount of fucking legal shit that you'd have to go through to get rid, to, again, force YG the man to sell his stock.
At that point, he would have to
That's-
like be like
Go to
directly
jail.
embezzling from YG or something in order to
Yeah.
like get enough like a legal action to get him fully removed from the company.
Again, at that point, I think you would need to physically have to go to prison for that embezzlement.
yeah.
And then, like, who fucking knows who would get that stock? It'd probably end up going to his brother anyway.
Yep.
Or his wife or some shit.
Probably.
So I don't, again, I think that is so beyond, like, for what the company can do, which is remove him as a public head, that's as much as you can ask for.
So the score that we're gonna go for.
I think it's a 5.5. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. If you gave me last year, I'd give it like a 4. I'd put them fucking below Jellyfish at that point.
Oh, jeez.
Again, still somehow better than Cube.
Cube is awful.
Yeah.
Even at their worst.
Cube
Yeah.
is truly terrible.
Cube is truly the
Yeah,
worst
jeez,
K-pop
Cube.
company.
Jeez.
So at the very least, we've done 10 now. We have 10 K-pop
We
companies.
do.
And so YG is 8 out of 10.
So it's not. I mean, that's not great for them.
Hey, JYP 7 out of 10. These big 3 aren't doing great.
Well, the other.
We got 2 more.
Hive will be good, but like SM will be like.
SM's gonna be. Oh god, SM.
I don't know what to do about that.
SM and Hive, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Hive,
Like what
I
we're
think, is
gonna go with them.
to be. Hive, I think, is at least gonna be top half.
Hive will be in the top half. SM will. I have to think about that later.
SM will.
I have
we
to.
have,
I have to revisit
here's
that
the thing.
line of
I
thinking
think-
later.
Yeah.
I think SM we will need to go through our 4-hour discussion about.
Yeah.
And then decide.
Yeah, pretty much.
All
Because if
right.
you asked me what I thought YG was gonna be, I'd be like, I don't know, probably like only above Cube. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, they're better than Jellyfish. What the fuck are you
Jellyfish
talking about?
really just
Jellyfish is
doesn't
disappointing.
have
overrated
their
the more
shit
you think
together
about it.
even a little bit.
Nope. Jellyfish is a company that the more you think about what they've done, the worse they become.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Yep. Alright, so that has been YG Entertainment, everybody. Somehow I think this episode is shorter than the JYP one.
Probably, but I also think that because we've already discussed
This is
so
true,
many
we have-
scandals-
We
It's
discussed
kind-
already a lot
we
of
have
aspects about this
discussed
company.
a lot of YG this year, so
Yeah.
which I don't
We
really
can sort
love
of-
that, but you know, we have. Yeah. So we are
looking at it. This is actually a good 20 minutes shorter than
lovely.
actually no
Jeez.
5 minutes shorter.
I
than
mean, granted, there's a
JYP.
little bit more to talk about with JYP, though, so.
Nah. We did have to go on a bunch of rants about how bad current JYP. crew
Yeah,
are.
and then once you get us on the JYP bands thing, it's like that goes on
Oh,
for
the
a while
bands.
too.
the bands.
Oh,
At
God.
least YG hasn't done bands yet, so.
At least
Oh,
YG
God.
doesn't have any shitty
Don't-
bands.
Don't bring that energy into the universe, Maria. Don't.
I guess
don't
we
let
could
them
have made
fool
this
you.
episode really long and then like brought in all of the YG subsidiary labels, but that is too much. I didn't want to do
Yeah,
Absolutely
there's
not.
a lot of extra subsidiary
I don't
labels. You have
wanna talk
YG,
more about
DX,
Teddy than
and
I
that
already
that
have.
aspect seems to be going well for them.
I don't think I need to talk more about Teddy than I already have.
Yeah.
Nope.
Already mentioned the Black Label, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about the Black Label. He's doing nothing different than the Black Label than he is with Blackpink's music.
Pretty
Yes.
much.
Yep.
There's our opinions on the Black Label.
Yep.
So that's been YG Entertainment. We are available on all major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We also have a fun YouTube channel where we post extra clip videos occasionally as well. And with that, we will see you in the next episode. Bye!
Bye.
Bye bye.